Welcome, everybody. My name is Charles Carter, and I'm going to be your host this evening for the Stunt Hangar video Hangout. And we're going to be talking about aero-modeling, uh, flying, control line, or combat, or carrier, or whatever aspect of control line you want to talk about. There's also, we have people who talk about RC as well. Um, The only thing we'd ask is that you would keep it family room friendly. So don't say anything you wouldn't say to your, 6-year-old daughter, granddaughter. So just keep it nice and friendly. Also, I'd like to encourage you to come on into the program. We have a live program. I'm gonna post the link very shortly, where you can come in here with a camera and a mic. Uh, it's hopefully you are a Stunt Hangar member. Then you can just go right into stunthangar.com / SMF, and then look for the at the bench link. And at that at the bench link, you're going to see something I posted, which will be today's date. It'll say Monday, today's date, and then you click on that, and it'll show you the link to get come on in. Now, if you're not a member, you can join by registering. Go ahead, go back to the same website, the stunthanger.com / SMU, SMF. Yeah, excuse me. So, anyways, once you do that, register with your real first and last name. You need to put a space between your first and last name and use a valid email address. And then hopefully Sparky will approve you. And if there's a delay in that, let me know. You come on into the YouTube channel and uh, make a remark or comment either in the comment section or in our chat box. I'm going to be getting that chat. I'm looking at another monitor, by the way, so I have two monitors. Excuse me. Let me pop this out. I do keep an eye on the on the chat, so just so I can include your remarks or questions in the program. So that's important to me. Anyways, we have 6 viewers right now, and I'm going to go ahead and invite everybody in. Let me go to stunthangar.com / SSM, SMF, excuse me. Let me see here. I'm going to post this link here just a moment. And then hopefully we will have some guests come in. So the link is posted. We have 6 viewers currently. Anyways, I also like to encourage you to subscribe and share and like. Please uh, like the videos. It does help the analytics, and it helps grow the channel. And we also would like your donations. You could actually donate to the program through the smart chat at the bottom. There's a smart chat in the window there. It's like a dollar sign. And then you also can join. There's the memberships. We have 3 tiers. I'm also a member of this. From the time you opened up the memberships, I joined right away. It's just, I think I'm paying $4.99 a month. It's like going to Starbucks, basically. And so, and you get a lot more. I mean, I learn something almost all the time when I watch these Stunt Hanger programs. Hey, Gary, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Good. I'm just
Yeah.
getting into the introduction here and trying to
Okay.
encourage people to support um, with a membership or the super chat. It really helps Sparky. Matter of fact, I was watching some videos from the Cleveland contest. Now I'm out here in Escondido, California, so it's kind of neat to be able to see live what's going on in Cleveland, Ohio. And he actually had a video of Bill Wurbridge, which was pretty cool because I've only
Yeah.
seen pictures of Bill Wurbridge, and Bill Wurbridge was hoping to get more active, and that's great news. And I didn't get much information, but those you see that one airplane, Gary, that guy held up that was 40 years old.
Uh huh.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
I wish you would have
I,
showed more of that plane.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
intrigued. 40 years
yeah.
old.
I got one 40 years old, but it's not that in good condition. Uh,
Yeah, I think there's people I
yeah,
could find a 40-year-old airplane too, but it won't
yeah.
be as pretty as that looks.
No, yeah.
So, hey Tom, how's it going?
Hey,
Hey, Charles.
hey,
Hey,
What's going
I was just talking about people supporting the channel because did you watch any of the coverage of the Cleveland contest this past weekend?
Yeah, I think where Billy was on. We
Yeah,
had,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah, I
was
watched
pretty
that.
cool. I hope that I mean, it was only two short videos, right? That wasn't very much. So I'm hoping
Right.
that he shot more and then he's going to edit it and upload it. You know, John,
yeah. Hi,
Hi, how
John.
you doing?
doing well, blessed.
Great.
Yeah,
There. Trying to get my VPN up working. Hold on a minute. Got it now.
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, just getting in here. It's kind of busy on some stuff the last couple of days, so didn't get anything done on laying up a short program on setting up geometric corrected controls. But
Oh,
I'll do it. What I'll do is I'll probably, and I might yet do it tonight, is just set up my AutoCAD or my CAD program and just run through it in real time. We'll see how it goes.
that would be great. I mean, I'm not quite there yet, but I know I will be there soon, where I'll be setting up the geometry, and so that'd be invaluable to have that. Hey, Phil,
Hey
Howdy,
Phil, how
howdy.
you doing?
All
doing
right, how are
well.
y'all? Got in tonight for a change. That's the first try. That's not unusual.
Yeah.
So,
Jeez.
John, let me ask you a question about
Okay.
that. Should the connection to the flap horn be 90 degrees to the push rod, or should it be 90 degrees in relation to the center line of the aircraft?
If you took the height of your flap horn, say it was 1.25 inches, if you throw a circle based on the pivot point with a radius 1.25 degrees, you want the line from your from your belt crank to be tangent to that circle. That's your point. It'll be between 7 and 10 or 11 degrees, depending on the length. It'll be from the pivot point of the belt crank to the pivot point of the flap. But it needs to be tangent to that circle. That's the point where it's 90 degrees from the flap push rod to the pivot point.
Okay, yes.
Makes sense?
Yes, it does.
And if you bring it to 90%, then you're already past center. So what that means is you take your throw, say you got a 1/2 inch throw to each direction. You take your throw and you're throwing down an arc, it's on a descending arc. Okay. That
So it'll give
descending
you
arc,
a differential throw.
yeah, you got differential throw.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. Yep.
Easy to do and hard to get rid of.
Yep. And the thing is, like I say, if I was proficient in trigonometry, and we talked about this last time, if I was proficient in trigonometry, it can easily be done by somebody who knows trig. You just kind of make yourself a chart. You can just hand draw it, put your dimensions at A, B, C, and D, and whatever those dimensions are, plug them into your equation, and you come out with the the proper dimensions. But
Sure.
I'm not proficient. I have to do it graphically, so I have to go back to good old geometry. Geometry can solve a lot of problems, though, but it takes
Takes a little time.
yeah. So how's
Well,
everybody been doing?
doing great. Doing
Yep.
great.
Great, great,
Hoping
great.
to go flying, but the wind's got to lay down a little bit.
You got
We got
wind there?
God, we got wind and rain the last few days. Like, good grief!
Hmm.
And it got cold. I mean, it went from the
Yeah.
80s to the 60s.
Yeah, we
It
had
was
40.
64. It was 64 today. Beautiful, sun shining, windy as heck, but sun shining, but 64 degrees. I thought, my word, what happened? I got up this morning, put on a short sleeve shirt, walked outside, and I said, Wear my jacket.
You must be getting remnants of the last hurricane there.
I think so.
I think we're getting some of it here too. This morning I went out with a T-shirt on and it was cold.
Yeah.
Yesterday was the same thing. I should have known better.
We had lows in the 30s and 40s in Minnesota.
Well, that's Minnesota.
Yeah, but you're in Minnesota.
Today, it was actually nice today. We got up to the 70s today.
Golly, see, I love it in the 70s, but
70s.
you're up there next to the ice pack, man. You're used to all that stuff.
Well, I used to say in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, there's nothing between there and the North Pole but a few barbed wire fences.
That's it. That's it. I'm telling you.
And I used to live in Wisconsin, so I can say that.
It's a land of 1,000 lakes, but I'm telling you what, they stay frozen over a lot.
Yeah, but it's easy to catch. You just go fish, because you just punch a hole in there, and the fish all go, "Oh my goodness, it's warm up there," and they jump right in your creel.
Yeah, I hear you. Not quite that easy. I tell you what, though, that when the difference is, you come to North Carolina and we get a foot of snow, everything just stops.
Oh yeah,
I mean, everything just stops. Minnesota, they get 4 feet of snow, and the next morning the school buses run.
Yeah.
Well, you should tell them about Houghton, Tom.
Oh
what?
God.
About Houghton there in
Houghton, Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been there.
12 feet of snow in a storm.
Yeah, you're driving into Houghton from anywhere else down south, North America, anywhere. You drive into Houghton, and before you get there, you see this big highway sign. Houghton, end of earth, 6 miles. Houghton, 12.
Hey, but they make some pasties up there that are so good.
I've got a son-in-law who grew up there. Well, I had a son-in-law. They're divorced now. But anyway, I still call him my son-in-law, and he still calls me Pop. But anyway, he had talked about pasties for years. I mean, 12 years. I finally said, all right, son, we're going to the grocery store. What are we going to get, Pop? We're going to get everything we need to make these darn pasties. I want to try one of these things. I've heard about this long enough. I want to try one. We call them pasties. He calls them pasties. But anyway, we went and got everything, and we made pasties. They're good. They're darn good.
Yeah.
But it's like we call it something else, but it's the same thing. Howdy, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're talking about the great north central part of the United States.
Oh, great.
Ain't near enough kick in my drink, but other than that, everything's fine. I gave up on that.
I can send you some.
No, I gave up on that stuff a long time. I learned a long time ago one inalienable fact. I'm silly enough sober.
Well, it's like we all grow up with several favorite things. And one of my favorite things is over in Covina, California, on San Bernardino Avenue, heading east from the Grand Avenue. There's a little place called Capri Delicatessen.
I know the place.
They make the absolute best, what they call grinders.
Yeah, I remember grinders.
And they are just to die for, literally to die for. And
I've had them. They're good.
And whenever I go to California, that is a mandatory stop for me.
Well, anytime I go, my mandatory stop is for fish tacos. There's one place just outside San Diego that makes the best chicken tacos I've ever eaten. They are really good.
You're not telling me about Scooby's, are you?
I think it is Scooby's. Yeah, Scooby-Doo. Yeah, I remember that.
I've never been there. So where is Scooby's at?
It's in Old San Diego.
Okay, in Old Town?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know where Old Town is, so
that sounds
I've never heard of it. I mean, I thought you were going to talk about Rubio's. I love Rubio's fish tacos.
Well,
Rubio's is good too.
nationwide.
I've been there too. I went there by accident looking for the Scooby's.
It's
all good. It's all good. Fran, what is with the red tint on that? Is that the aluminum?
No, this is the wing mold. It's made out of tooling board, which is like basically a polyurethane plastic that's specially formulated.
Okay, it's plastic. Okay, I was wondering because it looks like it's shiny, but it looks pink, and I thought I ain't never seen pink aluminum. What's he done? I know you're talented, but darn.
Yeah, pink is the. It's pink, the place where you're gonna say no, that I'm done.
So, Trey, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
What's the best hamburger place in Georgia?
In Georgia.
In Atlanta.
Oh, you're asking the wrong person.
You don't know?
I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, okay. Well, in Atlanta, they got a hamburger place that takes up about a half a block, it looks like. Seems. And right at the moment, the name is just off the tip of my tongue. But it's right by the University of Georgia Tech, actually.
Okay.
And you go in there, and that's all they sell is hamburgers and I think slaw. Not hamburgers, hot dogs and slaw.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another place. You go to Atlanta, that's a place you got to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, of course, you're a vegetarian.
Yeah.
So, Tryon, haven't you found any meatless hamburgers that are really good yet?
Oh, there are a bunch of good ones. You know, actually, even if you go to Costco, they have a very good one at Costco.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's called I don't know. I think it's called Impossible Burger or something like that. So it's very good. I mean, if you have one of those patties and you make it and you put in your regular burger, you can't even tell it's not meat.
That's
really.
We got some I have some in the freezer because my youngest daughter is a vegetarian, and he's right. I got them mixed up and couldn't tell which ones were which, and we couldn't tell.
Really?
My youngest,
Sounds good.
It's
I mean, I'm
pretty
not.
good.
I used to be a vegetarian. I'm not one any longer.
Uh-huh.
But I still try to eat very low beef. You know.
Well, I do too. I do too, and no pork.
I try the meatless hamburgers I see around, and I've never liked any of them. You know,
go to Costco and get the one.
Try to Costco. Try to Costco and ask for their good one. But stay away from that thing at Burger King. Oh my goodness!
I know. I was gonna say that one's gonna be impossible to me to eat ever again.
No, that thing's like eating. Just go out in the backyard and eat some grass. I mean, good grief.
Yeah, I think they call it the Impossible Burger.
It's called the Impossible Burger, which is a perfect name.
It was impossible for me to eat it. I bit into it and could not chew it twice. Yeah, that had to come back up. That was no.
All right, I have a question about an airplane engine.
Okay.
Shoot, Tom,
What's that?
This is the burger website.
I'm gonna make you big for that, Tom. You're gonna be the big one in the room now.
Dude, we're talking burgers here.
I
What are you for?
Let's get back to airplanes. That's great.
have an
Nah.
I have an HP 61, and I'm trying to clean it up, and so I've got it partially disassembled. And do you guys know what's a good cleaner to use on the aluminum to get? This is an older engine that's been run a lot with castor oil.
Okay, I can answer that.
And so it's got a lot of.
Have you ever heard of airplane stripper? Airplane stripper. It's made to take paint off. You can buy it at. I get mine at Lowe's. It's called airplane stripper. I'll run down and get some. It's a quart can. It's blue and white, the label, and it's just called airplane stripper. I think I'll go get a can in a minute and then check it out. But you take that and put it on with an old toothbrush, Put it on and just brush it on, make sure everything's covered. Let it set about 15 minutes. Now, if you got the motor disassembled, this is perfect. But if you've got it put together, now you want to cover the ports and everything so it doesn't get inside. But clean it up with a toothbrush and then wait about 15, 20 minutes. Run it under some cool water and use the toothbrush and just really go after it. But now remember one thing when you do this. Use your wife's toothbrush, not yours. It tastes bad. Charlie Reeves told me that.
Kind of like
That's Charlie Reeves' joke. But seriously, it's called airplane stripper. And it
Airplane
will take all the old varnish off.
tastes kind of like those vegetarian hamburgers from Burger King, huh?
Oh God. I don't know what it tastes like, but I know what that tastes like. Those are nasty. Ooh.
I wouldn't be surprised if I can't get that in California, Phil. Anything that works, we can't get it in California.
Well, if you need it, we have what's called a post office.
Color the aluminum.
All right.
The only thing I've found that works for varnish removal on an engine that I can get easily is lacquer thinner. And it's got to soak overnight.
This stuff works so much better than lacquer thinner, and it don't get you high in the process.
Oh, that's
lacquer thinners give me a headache so bad. Everybody used to say, "Oh, let's go." No, I could never do that because it gives me headaches so bad. I have so many sinus headaches anyway. I don't do anything that this could give you a sinus. Could give you a headache. No, I stay away from it. Drinking too much.
Speaking of lacquer thinners and stuff, we were talking about your color. I was talking about the Caribbean blue for your nose work.
Yeah.
I found some, but the only Caribbean blue that I have is candy. And I mean, you could do it, but then you'd have to back it with either white or silver.
Yeah, probably silver.
And it would be very heavy.
Yeah. I went in. I took a Dremel tool with a little, whatever you call the round drum, sanding drum.
Little sanding barrel.
Yeah, and put that on a Dremel, one of the little small pencil Dremels that you drive off a big Dremel tool, and sat and worked on that thing for about 2 hours, and I took it down from 4.5 ounces for that cowl down to 2.23.
Wow.
And I think I'm going to leave it right there because there's places where you can touch it and it's just real thin. But I think I got it down to the paint in a few places. Seriously, I went and put CA on the back side of some of it because it was really thin.
I can get you the Caribbean blue, and it's going to be in a pour out, and I have to get you at least a pint of it, and it's going to cost $25 for the pint plus shipping.
Well, that's not bad at all. I tell you what.
You're only going to need an eyedropper full of it.
Yeah, I know. I tell you what's bad. I went crazy and had to have some pond scum green to do a Cobra. I wanted my Cobra to be right. You got to be right. Got to have the right color. Well, Bill Little had some of the pond scum green enough to get me a little swatch on a piece of paper so I could get it mixed up. I had to buy a pint. They charged me $96. I didn't pick it up. I didn't buy it. He wanted $96 for this stuff. It was going to be $20, and I went to pick it up, and it was $96. All this was no. We said $20.
You cheapskate.
You're right. I am. But I went to one of the. I drove a delivery truck for a couple of years after I retired, and I went and talked to one of the girls. It's a woman painter. It's a family business, and she's the painter. Mama's the painter. But anyway, I asked her if she could mix me some pond scum green. She says, "What the heck is that?" I said, "I'll bring you a swatch. I only have one, but I'll bring you a swatch." But it's literally the color of the scum out on the pond in the mornings. It's that light green. Ugh. She says, "Wait a minute. Wait just a minute." And she went back in the back. She brought me a quart can. And she shook that thing, put it on a shaker and shook it up. And opened it up, and she says, "Is this close?" Ma'am, I think you got it. I think you got it. So she closed the can up and sealed it up. She says, "Go check that, and if it's close, let me know, and I'll fix it, whatever it needs. Just bring me the swatch, and I'll fix it. But if this will work, take it with you." Take it with you? She gave me a quart of that stuff. I came home and painted my little Cobra, and it looked great. It looked really great, but didn't last long. I haven't had much luck with I-beams. I don't know why. I've learned my lesson though. When you do an I-beam, when you start cutting on that beam, you draw a line down the center of it, and you cut a little bit off this side, and you cut a little bit off this side, and you're working one half of the spar. Whenever you cut some off one side or sand some off one side, you do the equal amount to the other side. Make sure you take it down equally.
Right.
When you get it done, when you get this thing done and you put it together, you be ready to get busy building on this airplane. You build this, when you sit down to build it, you commit 2 days or whatever to build this wing. And when you get through building it, you can let it set for a day or two. But when you start covering it, when you cover one side of it, you blame well better keep that side damp until you get the other side done. Because
Right.
if you don't, in the morning, it's going to look like a pretzel.
Right.
It just bows up every which way. I've got a USA 1 downstairs that the spar didn't bend up and down. But if you look at it from tip to tip, it's got an S in it.
Oh,
That's the darndest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I have an Aries that did the same thing.
That's weird. But I showed it to Tom Looper, and he says, you had said that, you said that thing did that for 6 months, and I didn't believe it. But I see it now. I said, yeah, it's an eighth of an inch at least.
Wow.
He says, you know, the thing about that, most people would never see that. He said, I was a technician for a long time, and he says, you see the little things that nobody else sees. He said, you'd be a good judge at the Nats because you pick out the 20-pointer and it'd be the 20-pointer because you pick out everything that's wrong with every one of them. I said, well, I like what I like. You know, I'm a little critical, but when I get one that I'm really proud of, it's worth seeing. I don't do it very often. Wish I did. But I'm a little critical, but I was a judge with car shows for many years, and I like that. It's a lot of fun. John, what do you? I see Steve has joined us.
Yeah.
How are you tonight, sir?
Pretty good.
That's a good deal.
You complain too much.
I have to watch him. I have to watch him because he's one of these paint specialists.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I was talking to Dane about all the different paints and stuff, and on the phone when I talked to him the other night, went over all that stuff. I just got to get my ass busy and see if I can find that catalyzed lacquer. And
that'd be nice.
I'm testing on it. I know it's still got to be made because they're still making furniture here in the U.S. a little bit, not like they did, but
I'll give you a hint. When you go looking for it, they call it hobby paint now.
Hobby paint.
Hobby paint. I found some lacquer in a distribution center, and they called it hobby paint. So I bought about 6 gallons while I could get it. I bought clear so I could put pigment in it and make it work. But I got about 6 gallons of clear downstairs. Now, how am I going to get the lacquer thinner? That's another question. We'll have to figure that one out.
You can buy lacquer thinner at Home Depot.
Yeah. I hope it's compatible.
You know, Gary Lutz told me about it because I said, you know, this damn lacquer thinner is so expensive. And he told me, he said, well, I just use what Wendy used. And I can get the name off of it, but I Googled it, and Home Depot carries a brand. It's $10 a gallon. And it works great. I've used it on now 4 or 5 models and never had. But if you say anything to anybody, they say, oh, that's going to mess up the paint job and this and that and everything else. So, but I can go down and get the can and show you what it is. And you can try it if you want. But that's what Wendy used. And he used that with Brodak dope, which is what we all use now, you know, so.
Yeah.
It's Brodak or whoever. I can't think of the name.
One thing I learned.
Randolph.
You're thinking of Randolph, right?
Randolph, yeah. It works with Randolph. It works with Brodak.
One thing I learned with painting is it doesn't matter what you're using. You could be using urethanes, enamels, lacquers. It really doesn't matter what kind of paint you're using. You can use expensive paint and cheap reducer or thinner, but you can't use cheap paint and expensive reducer or thinner.
Yeah.
It has to be good paint, regardless of the reducer or thinner that you're using.
I'll go get the stuff. I mean, it's clean. you know, I poured it into a jar to see if there was any crap in it or whatever, and that's usually what, you know, it's water clear. It doesn't have any color to it. And that's some of the cheap thinners won't be water clear. But I'll go get the stuff. I think it starts with an E.
Is that the Home Depot thinner?
It's one of them, yeah.
If you can't find it, let me know. I've got a gallon of Home Depot lacquer thinner. It works.
We have a couple of comments, you guys, on the chat. And by the way, hello everybody on the chat. Hola, Javier. I don't think I've seen your name before. And there's something else that's kind of bizarre going on in the chat. Don't know what that's about. Shucks. But at least it's not in English. What yeah, this guy Billy Perez. It looks like it's Chinese or Japanese, but I'm just glad I can't read it. Anyways, the question was which is butyrate dope? That's what he said. Which is butyrate dope? This is by Charles Belovas.
Aerogloss is butyrate.
Yeah, but Aerogloss isn't compatible with Randolph or any of those.
Aerogloss it's not compatible with anything but Aerogloss.
Exactly.
Well, let me take a guess. Maybe saying what is butyrate dope? Does anybody know what butyrate dope is?
It's a lacquer-based product.
Nitrate dope is base is nitrates. It's like, remember way back in the old days when modeling was in its infancy, you got glue by taking old cellulose from film and dissolving that down and that's nitrate.
But he's asking what is butyrate dope, and here's Steve. Steve knows what butyrate dope is, right, Steve? I have a guy on the chat who's asking what is butyrate dope.
Oh, sorry.
So that's Jasco. That's a good brand, Jasco.
And I mean, it's $10. It's not 40.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, that's what, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago.
I'm making a note of that.
Me too.
You know, and I get it at Home Depot, but hell, who knows where they carry it.
Lacquer thinner, okay.
But
Ace.
JASCO.
Jasco, that's a popular brand for Home Depot. They have quite a few Jasco products.
That's what Gary Lutz said that Wendy used on all of his airplanes.
Well, crap. Now I'll have to go back in Home Depot. I hadn't been in there in years.
But, you know, you can Google it. Hell, it may be at your local hardware store. But because I told Gary that I got it at Home Depot because he got it at some hardware store that got it for him. And I told him, I said, well, hell, they had, you know, pallet of it there at Home Depot. So
for $10, I might go grab a couple of gallons just because if I start using it, they'll quit making the darn stuff.
Yeah, no. Just so you guys know on the audience, Gary Lutz, he's a really good painter. I mean, his planes are magnificent. So the fact that Steve said Gary Lutz is kind of like, you know, E.F. Hutton, you know. If he says that, then you want to check it out.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was friends with Big Jim and all that kind of stuff, and I mean, that's the paint system that they came up with. So, and I can't think of the other guy that he has the Jaguar out.
Oh, Joe Adamisco?
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, I mean, they still hang out, and Joe can really paint too.
Yes,
but that was, you know, that's what he told me, that they used, you know, either Brodak or another dope, and they used that thinner. So that's what I've been using, and it works for me. I haven't had a problem with it. But I'll have to look up what the difference is between nitrate dope and butyrate dope, because lacquer, like regular lacquer you spray, that's a nitrate product because it comes from nitrocellulose. So I have a feeling that it's one is one kind of nitrocellulose and another is another kind of nitrocellulose. Because we'd have about 8 different kinds of nitrocellulose, different manufacturers, and the big stuff we used was DuPont, what they make their gunpowder out of.
Lord.
Yeah, that's what
exploding wings.
Nitrocellulose is. We always called it gun cotton, and if you look up gun cotton, is what they make gunpowder out of. And there's ball powder, and there's flake powder. That is how that stuff looks. That some of it is just little flakes and some is little balls, and they make gunpowder out of it. But that's the main ingredient with saltpeter and other stuff in gunpowder to make it how fast it burns. But I'd have a feeling nitrate and butyrate are brothers, but there's something different.
Butyrate's a different type of a plastic or type of material.
Well, let me ask a dumb question. You guys are all builders, I think, except Trey, and he builds with carbon fiber. I'm only trying to razz him. And I'm jealous, but I can't do it yet. But anyway, if you start a plane, I've done the last, I guess, 8 or 10 planes I've done. I bring them up from bare wood with nitrate up through getting the tissue on them and 4 coats of nitrate or till it looks shiny. And then I'll spray on a coat of butyrate, clear, and then put on some form of primer. Now, I usually use talcum powder in clear dope for the first coat and seal that and then put white on it and then go from there. But I sand so much of it off, it sounds like a bunch of coats, but I sand it off to where there's nothing left. But Sparky has been talking about doing it all from the base coat up with butyrate. And I haven't done that since I was a kid. I don't know. What do y'all think?
When you ever painted and you get like a crinkled finish?
I've never done that.
I have.
Now, I did use a retarder one time, and my red, white, and blue stripes looked like ribbons that did this. I mean, that was weird. I had to sand it all off and redo it, but that was too much retarder. But no, a crinkled finish, no, I never have.
What it is that I've had 2 airplanes now with that damn, I don't know, it looks like an alligator finish. It crinkles up so bad. And
I can't remember what they call it.
It's from the retarder and stuff, letting that butyrate get down on mixing with the nitrate.
Mm-hmm.
And it screws up the paint job.
That's called checking, Phil.
There you go.
Oh my! Yeah. And I quit using nitrate. I mean, if people like nitrate, I got like almost a full gallon. I'll give that shit away. I would never use it again.
The thing is with nitrate too is if you've got a spot that wears through or whatever, and you get fuel on it, believe me, you will regret having used it.
But the difference is, John, and I found this. I learned this the hard way. If you use nitrate gases off a lot more than butyrate does, and it dries a lot lighter.
Mm-hmm.
That's why SIG light coat is nitrate dope, and SIG regular is butyrate dope.
That's where I got it from.
So if you use nitrate dope to apply the silk span, and 1 coat of nitrate over the top of it, just enough to somewhat fill the pores.
Light coat is not nitrate. It says right on the can, butyrate dope.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan.
Light coat has a plasticizer in it.
Is that what the difference is?
Yeah, banana oil.
Because I've used light coat, and okay, maybe it is all butyrate then, but I used light coat and urethane, and my shoestring came out 15 and 3/4 ounces, I think, before I put the Fox 35 on it.
Wow.
And that's after the urethane clear.
That's pretty interesting. But John, you use all butyrate from the ground up, wood up?
When I use dope, I use butyrate at the beginning, and then I get to the point where I've got my primer coat on, and then from there I use water base.
I've always been scared of the water base.
But you clear the water base with dope.
Yeah, but the water base by itself is fuel resistant.
What's water base? What's that we talking about?
It's a paint. What I use is made is under the Rust-Oleum brand. You can find it in almost any hardware store. It's not expensive. And
which Rust-Oleum is it?
Painter's Touch.
Painter's Touch. I gotta look at that.
And it's a good paint. The yellow on my Pathfinder LE, if you've seen the picture, it looks pretty.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's just 2 coats.
Well, I gotta do something because I tell you what, the last
one thing is with water base. Usually, all water bases are fuel proof because they don't use any thinner in them.
Right.
So you have two different chemistries there. But what can happen is some whites will yellow if you get fuel on them. It doesn't eat into them, but it changes, it stains them or whatever.
That's one of the reasons why I use clear dope over and use that to polish it.
Yeah. You're hired.
Rust-Oleum, painter's choice, and you can use clear butyrate dope over it
and under it.
Well, I'll try that then because I'm trying to find a way a lighter coat, and that sure is a one coat and you're covered with that. Where a lot of this other stuff doesn't do that. The Rust-Oleum that I used, I don't think it was painter's choice, but I put purple metallic on my Kawasaki on the fuselage and tail, and then I tried to put clear coat over it, just clear dope, because that's what I'd heard to do. Just clear dope over it with an airbrush. That orange peeled so bad it looks like sandpaper.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah, that's what happens to me with I guess I call it orange peel, or when I use nitrate and then go with butyrate over it. I did a really nice ringmaster, and for some reason, when I put the blue on there, it just started crinkling like hell. The white didn't do it, but whatever was in that blue just crinkled that damn shit all up.
Well, that's what mine was. The purple is a dark blue, and it really is just a dark blue. They call it purple. It's really dark blue, metallic. But I was told by somebody else that the blues are really bad for that.
Well,
the reds and whites are fine.
The painter's touch that I've used, I can go buy a little can, big enough to do my airplane for $6 or around $6.
Oh, this is a can. It's not a rattle can.
Right. You can get it in a rattle can if you want, but I've got the spray equipment, so why not just get the can of it? You can get
I don't think I've ever seen it like that.
You can get a pint can. You get a quart can. I think probably.
Where do you buy it?
I buy it at oh shucks, I buy it at just about any hardware store.
My Home Depot has painter's touch.
Oh shucks.
Home Depot.
I heard of that.
I'll go by tomorrow and look.
Store.
You heard of what there, Steve?
I said I heard of that hardware store. Oh shucks.
Yeah, that's that's the one that had what you wanted last week.
Hey guys, if I could interrupt for a second, I've been so busy on the chat. We had a couple of knuckleheads that were just terrible stuff. So I was busy just hammering them out. And but this one guy, Charles Bowell, he's saying that nitrate is the best for the first couple of coats because it's a really good glue. And
it's hard to trust anyone named Charles, though.
and he also said that light coat is a non-tautening butyrate dope.
Right.
It's low shrink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just reading the chats for you guys. What are you saying?
Yeah.
And then he also
right on the can, low shrink, so it does shrink, just not as
much.
Well, Charles, he's right on nitrate is a really good base one to use on a base. Problem is I don't want I've always got someplace where the paint is worn through and the fuel gets underneath it. And that doesn't work with the, if it gets that nitrate, it loses its adhesion. You got a problem. So for me, I'll just take the slightly less adhesion of the butyrate, and it is slightly less. It's not
okay. I'll try that because I'm getting ready to cover a bearcat, rabies bearcat.
Oh yeah,
and that thing, a 4-stroke on a hot day, you use 20 to 30% nitro, and that ain't good on. I mean, you put that somewhere where it can get under, and it will.
Yeah, that's a paint remover, basically, isn't it?
It is.
That's not good on any finish.
No, it's not. But that is pretty.
This is my ringmaster, and I'll try to show you.
Make it big, Steve. Hang on. Let me click on you here.
Hey, make me little for once. I've always been big.
Hey, Steve, you have to diet for that.
No, yeah, but if you can do it with the computer, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, you come back away from the camera. You're a little bit too big.
That almost looks like it's cracking.
Oh, he's trying to show us the finish? Oh, okay, I see it now.
Right there. Yeah, see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Just in the blue did it, and it pissed me off so bad because I put so much work into this thing. Sanding and trying to get my 20-pointer.
Now, is that all butyrate, or what is that?
That's gonna win you a contest, Steve.
I couldn't hear everybody now. What was that again?
Is that all butyrate on that ringmaster, or what?
No, I did the nitrate because everybody said do the nitrate, and then I did that, and then put the silk span on it, and sanded it, and just spent tons of hours on it. Got the white, got the silver, went to the blue, and I'll be damned if it didn't do that all over the tail and underneath it. And it's only on the. What's really weird is this side of the airplane is fine. It's all on this side of the airplane.
How long did you let it gas off before you put the butyrate on it?
Weeks.
Weeks? Okay.
Yeah, because the white went on and I let that dry real good and I sanded up. I went back and wet sanded everything. Then I put the silver on, and I mean you can't even feel the edging on this. I sanded so nice that you can't even feel none of that. And then when I went for the blue, it just so.
It's always the last color.
You know what the problem is, Steve?
What?
You cared too much.
Yeah. I wanted to do one nice airplane that I really put a lot of work in, and then.
So he chose a ringmaster.
It
was small.
Steve, you treat it like you stole it, and you don't care, and it'll look beautiful.
But
Steve, I've got a pen tip.
Since this airplane, I've done plastic coating on the wings and shit. I've said, screw it. I'm never going to put that much work into something, that many hours of sanding and not going through a rib and all that kind of stuff, and then have something like that happen. I mean, it's like, screw it. I'm not. And then I just crash them anyway, so it's
I know how the big boys feel when they build 700 square inches and it goes like that.
Oh, I know.
Well,
man.
Anyway, while we're on the topic of painting, I've got a question for John and for Charles.
All right.
And what is the wingspan you plan on building mostly?
About between 600 and 650.
I don't care about inches, square inches. I want tip to tip. I need to know how much clearance you need on your paint stand.
Oh, no. Well, most of mine are 60 inches that I'm planning on building. Right now I'm building the Strega, and then next is most likely a Thunder Gazer, or a Tempest, Steve. But most
So
likely
you
the
got.
Gazer.
So
They're
you're
all like
looking
50
at.
inches.
Go ahead,
When you
Charles.
build
I'm
that,
sorry.
when you build that Thunder Gazer, we got to talk.
All righty.
I've got a
Go
kit.
ahead.
I've got a kit downstairs, and wow.
Hey,
I,
talk to him when he first starts, though, because if you talk to him when it's finished, we'll be so old that we'll have Alzheimer's and don't even know what we're talking about.
Now, Dan,
Well,
you hear all this,
that's
Dan?
me.
Dan,
That's
you hear all this,
me.
Dan? My friend Dan came in today. Oh, he's gone.
I,
Okay.
to answer your question there, is I generally between 55 and 62 inches wingspan.
Okay, so if you have 33, if you have 33 from the bottom leg to the pivot point, that gives you enough room for.
Yep.
66 would brush the leg.
Right.
So if I gave you enough room for a 64-inch wingspan, you'd be okay, right?
Yeah, I don't think I build anything bigger. I don't plan on building the too much anytime soon.
If you have it, you want it at like 4 feet, so it's up to where you're standing level to paint it.
Yeah, but Charles is
because
no
if you
taller
split
than me.
that, that's an 8-foot wingspan. That's a big airplane.
Yeah, but Charles is no taller than me. We want him about as close to 36 inches as we can get him. So what I'm saying is, if I can give you 33 inches from the center of the pivot to the lower
Now you're getting up to 33 inches, you get it?
Hey, hey, Charles, don't trust any guy telling you he's going to give you 33 inches from the pivot. So that's a
That's why
lie.
there's no female architects, you know?
Jeff, there's no hope on here.
I'm not going to touch that one. I'm going to look like I didn't hear any of that.
I'm 6'2", so you can go a little bit taller than that.
And he can't even give you a 36-inch.
Steve, I'll give you 36 inches, but it ain't going to be something you want.
Steve, what did I start? What in the world did I start here?
We're talking about a.
I didn't start.
How do we stop it?
Ask a simple question.
Talking about the paint stand. Because I already had enough stuff I had to clean up on the chat. So.
Hey, I'll tell you another thing is that when I made my paint stand, I made it with 3 legs. Then if you got anything off in your garage or whatever, it'll always set flat. Because the first one I had was 4. That son of a bitch was rocking. You need adjustable legs on the dumb thing to make it work. But I made mine with 3 legs, and then I can turn it to where the one leg points back, so I have a bigger area in front to stand, or I can turn that sideways so I don't hit the legs while you're painting. That first one of mine, I was always tripping over my damn paint stand.
Okay.
As far as the height to the pivot point there, for me, 3.5 to 4 feet would be about right.
Yeah, I figure 4 foot.
What mine is.
It's chest level, and that's
Hello.
Somebody woke up.
That's quite the alarm you got there, Trayan.
Who was that? Was that Triumph?
Then we start talking about a 36-inch pivot, and all of a sudden his air compressor just takes off.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, Steve. Steve, yours about $1.50 on the jar right now. Hope you know.
Have I been swearing? Have I been swearing?
I don't think you realize it.
Every 2 minutes.
Do you ever not swear?
What do I say when I swear?
Oh, I can't say that.
What letter does it start with?
S.
S.
Oh,
S. At least every 120 seconds, S comes out of your mouth.
I'm doing really well because it used to start with an F, and I've really worked hard on not saying that.
Well, one of the S's is an SH, and the other one is an SON.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I used to work with a guy who was ex-Navy, And I mean, he was just ex-Navy.
Oh, okay.
It was 2 years before he could get to where he could talk without. I mean, I'd introduce him to girls, and he just absolutely. It was 2 minutes later, and they were headed for the car. They'd had enough. I said, my gosh. I said, man, you got to get out more. You got to learn to talk without all that. He finally did, and then it was, you'd see him with the babe of the month for about 2 years, man. He was something else.
Well, my friend from Switzerland, when he first came over here, he didn't speak any English. So he had a little damn dictionary and stuff, and, we were going through teaching him English and stuff like that. But in the mornings, when somebody came, because I was the shop manager, when people come in, every morning, no matter who it was, I'd just say, hey, bitch. And, they'd say, hey. Well, Hansi picked that up.
Uh-oh.
That was greeting. Hey, bitch. So we're in a bar.
Oh, no.
And this girl we know kind of knew walks up and he goes, hey, bitch. Oh, my God. I'm like, no. He doesn't understand what. And then we told him, he's like, why would you say this when I come in the morning? I'm like,
because I am an uncouth bastard.
Lord have mercy.
But yeah, I mean,
y'all are terrible.
Hey, look at there.
What we got here? What's this?
I don't know. That's supposed to be Mike's son there in that picture.
Well, those are all the juniors and seniors that flew at the Nats this year.
Yeah.
And 2 of them aren't holding airplanes because they wrecked them.
Who in the hell was flying a pattern master?
Stephen Daly, Joe Daly's son.
That's a big.
He won it. That
and he's the big ass airplane.
He's the junior going to the World Championships next year. He's on the team.
Yeah, is that his?
Good grief.
Is that the plane he's taking?
I think so. It's a take apart. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Holy shit, that's a big ass airplane.
Yeah, he went to the team trials. And
yeah, I know he won the team trials, and they postponed the.
Well, 2 of them, Ben went to the team trials, and Luca went to the team trials, and Steven went. Steven won it, and then Steven came to the Nats and won the Nats in junior.
I thought that airplane, they showed it in the AMA book when he was building it. It was just
they did.
Wood. I thought that sucker was a impact, and it's a pattern master. Boy, I missed that one.
It's electric.
It's a restyled, but that's a huge airplane. Wow.
I wonder if it has that huge ass windy wing in it. That thick ass.
The 3-inch airfoil?
Yeah.
No, I'd only done one airplane, Charles airplane.
I don't know. I don't think that big thick airfoil and electric go together.
No, I don't either.
That's why I'm wondering if they changed that or.
Yeah, that's a lot of problems with the electric flying nowadays. They take an IC motor plane and they try to make it electric after that, and they wonder why the battery is they use so much battery on it, and why it's so heavy, because you have to put a big ass battery to pull all that big fat airfoil around when you don't need it.
Well, look at the size of the flaps on that thing. Can you imagine how that thing must pull when you make a turn?
Do you know what the flap percent or the airfoil percentage thickness is on a Nobler, including the flaps?
No, I don't. But I'm flying an electric Nobler, and it flies great.
It's about 14%.
Yeah, because Nobler has a thin airfoil. It's very suited to electric.
That's what I'm saying. It's 14%.
I'm thinking about next year building a Giardini's Olympic. It's still an Nobler wing. Yeah, it's an Nobler wing. Yeah, I just get a new look on the same design I'm used to. Yeah. But I want to put the battery sunk back into the wing a little bit more, because the problem with a Nobler, if you build it stock, is that it's so darn nose heavy. Even with a 2800 battery in it, it's so darn nose heavy. So mine's got nearly an ounce of tail weight in it.
Bill has a half A Nobler.
Make a bigger plane. You know, whatever you want to pick. It really doesn't matter even if you pick a pattern master. I mean, I don't care what you pick, but just make it thinner airfoil. That's all there's to it. If whatever that is over there, it doesn't matter. You know, it's making like 16% thickness or something like that, and you'll get away with it. I mean, you need to penetrate with it with electric, and you don't need the drag. I mean, the lower the drag, the better. I mean, as long as when you go down, when you nose in, when you go down, if it doesn't speed up, you're still fine. And I'm pretty clean right now aerodynamically. I'm 16 with 14 on the tip. I think I could go 15, even 14 on the root and 12 on the tip and still be fine, because I'm not charging on a downline at all.
No, yours doesn't gain speed at all on the downline.
That's the reason over the years they went with thicker and thicker airfoils, was to control the power they needed to put.
About 20 years, well, 15. For about 15 years, if you looked, whatever that was, I hope it don't do it again. For about 15 years, if you went to the Nats and looked every year, the number one airplane was a Nobler. And if it wasn't a Nobler, by George, it was a derivative of a Nobler.
Yeah, that's true.
But you knew what motor you put. You build a Nobler and you put OS-35S or a good Fox 35 in it, and it worked.
Well, there was a limited amount of power available, so you had to work within what power was available. When we started using more powerful engines, you'll notice that the thickness of the airfoils went up.
Well, that's the reason I asked Wendy why such a thick airfoil. He said Super Tiger 60.
Yeah.
But, you know, Super Tiger 60 is a very powerful motor, but it's not that manageable. It's not that good a power. It's not like a Aero Tiger 36 that really changes and works with you, or even a good LA 46 really works with you.
Or a badass 35, 30 or 15.
Yeah. But
electric is very manageable. I mean, it's so easy to manage, you know, that you don't really need a thick airfoil. And if you want to see something turning, try to look at some of these glider competitions when they have to fly the pylons and they have to turn the plane around the pylon. I mean, those guys have very thin airfoil, you know, but they turn, good God, they turn so fast. It's like, wow. You know,
that's what got me thinking, Trey. And we're going to these thick airfoils, and I also fly sailplane, and I go out to a lot of the sailplane competitions. I don't fly in them because you have to be competitive at least our local contest, sailplane contests, which are usually 100 miles from here. You about have to have a carbon plane. The woodcrafters just are not competitive anymore.
No, they're not.
I don't have anything that is, but. You go out there and you watch these planes turn the corners, and they're going, I mean, just batting it across the sky. It looks like an arrow. And then just like he says, they just lay that thing up and come back the other way. It turns so hard and so fast, you just got to wonder, what the heck was that?
And not only that, they maintain their energy.
Speed. Yeah. Maintain the energy in that turn.
Hey, Tryon, I got a question for you on your mold. When you mold that one, you say that right there. You mold it, you vacuum bag that half of it, and then you vacuum bag the other half.
Bear with me.
And then you put the two together.
Yeah, that's the way it does it.
Just to slip this in while they're getting that, imagine what it takes for the current world record speed holder in radio controlled models, which happens to be a glider.
Yeah, it's a sailplane. And
he's turning, well, they say he's going to break the speed of sound with it eventually.
But, I think he will.
But the amount of that radius he's going, he has to keep it in sight and in control, you know, so he's really pulling some G's in those corners.
Well, if you saw some of the early ones, I have not seen the current one fly, but one of the prototypes that I saw probably 15 years ago, 10 years ago, the wingtips looked like they just almost touched in a hard turn. Wow! But it didn't lose any speed, and he kept getting it, and he won the contest. But he's gotten much better since then.
Okay.
Look at this. Look at this.
So
Oh,
So, Steve,
man.
this is the first step when you mold the two halves.
Right. You do two separate ones and then you put them together, right?
Exactly. And when I put them together, I put a a piece of foam here in the center, right? That kind of is going to bridge the top and the bottom, so it stops him from squishing, right?
Yep.
And then you just mix some epoxy with the micro balloon, and you just paint this edge all the way around. Okay.
Right. Then bolt the two together. Well, my question is I was watching How It's Made on the Science Channel, and they were showing carbon fiber parts for cars.
Okay.
And how they did it is they waxed the molds, then they put in some other stuff, the release agent.
Okay.
And then they cut their carbon fiber, but they sprayed an adhesive on it. And they said it's an adhesive that will then mix in with the epoxy.
Okay, yeah.
Part of the epoxy.
Yep.
And it's a spray-on adhesive. And they stuck it all down on the mold. And that held it in place so there's no wrinkles. They worked out all wrinkles, all whatever.
Yep.
But then the next layers went in, they did the same thing and stuck that all down.
Yeah.
They used looked like, I call it like thumb gum, but it was a yellow stuff, and they put it around the edge of the mold. Then they just stuck their bag down to it.
Yeah.
And they started the vacuum, and they spread out all the plastic. There was no wrinkles there. They got all that done. Then they had on the other end of that, they had a tube.
Okay.
And they stuck that into the epoxy and sucked the epoxy into the mold. And they said that got rid of all the little bubbles. And, when you try to roll it on with a roller and stuff, once in a while, you see it on props and shit. There'll be a place where it's not shiny, a little.
Yeah, that's called infusion molding. It's in which you pull the vacuum out, you put the parts inside, you pull the vacuum out, and everything is stuck against the mold. And then from one end of the mold, you start to insert the resin. Yeah. And because of the vacuum, the resin being pulled from one side to the other side all the way through, and it's going to fill in all the voids, all the nooks and crannies and stuff like that. The problem with that is that it's heavy, because instead of having resin just where you need it, you have it everywhere else, a crack or a hole or anything else is.
Oh, okay. But I know it came out. They said you use less that way because, and I'm not sure if they're talking less in the manufacturing part of it or less in the mold, that it will suck it to the same thickness every place in the mold.
Yeah, because you have the material inside to have one bag on one side and the mold on the other side, so the resin can only go in between them, right?
And then they had that.
That doesn't mean it's lighter, Steve.
Huh?
That does not mean it's lighter, because now you have fill in everything. Now, if you put the same amount of resin that you would do over there or even more, it really doesn't matter. Once you put the paper towels on top of it and start to roll them off, you start to suck out all of that excess resin, right? So mostly the resin that's left in there, it's in the grain of the fibers, which is where you need it. Anything else, it just goes on for the ride and just makes things heavier.
Oh, okay.
So there are a lot of techniques out there. So
that's kind of like that fat around my belly. It just makes it heavier. Goes along for the ride.
I got a quick question.
Go for it.
There was a video of a guy starting a stalker and he was turning it over backwards. And then a lot of people said, yeah, that's how you start a glow engine, is flip it against the compression. Is that what people are doing?
Yeah, you don't flip it to compression. You just back flip it to compression. I'll bring it up to compression going forward. Then I'll take it and I'll just pop the prop backwards to compression. It comes up compression, gets enough compression, fires it, changes direction, and starts up running the right way.
I don't know about you, Bill, but I'm lost. Compression.
Okay. Pull it up against compression, and then take and flip it the other way, and it goes back against compression over here and fires and brings it back through and starts it.
Yeah. So Bill, long story short, sometimes the motor gets flooded, right? Okay, and you can feel it. I mean, you can hear it. If it feels very wet, right? And the more you spin it in a normal direction, what happens? It draws more fuel inside.
More fuel.
And gets flooded again. So what you do, instead of starting it in a normal direction, you start it backwards. So what happens? The motor is going to start to run backwards until it gets leaner. It's going to bounce back by itself in the right direction. So it could go like boom, and it catches on and goes.
Yeah, that's not the way you start a stalker. I'll take my stalker and I'll put my finger. I mean, I'm starting it upside down. Put my finger over the venturi and I'll flip it through about 6-8 times. That last time that I flip it through, while I'm flipping it through, I'm removing my finger from the venturi. So it takes, because a lot of that fuel is sitting on top of my finger in the venturi. So as I flip it through and pull it off, it brings that charge into the cylinder. Then I'll flip it 6-8 times with nothing, just flipping it through, getting the fuel all atomized and throughout the engine. Then I'll put the blow driver on. I'll bring it up to compression going forward, and then just back flip it, back to compression going backwards. And it hits it. It's like the bump start. It hits it. It starts immediately, and at full bore going the right direction.
It gives you a chance to get your finger out of the way. Go for it. There you go.
Okay, so that's compression right there. Okay, a lot of people will flip like that. Okay, on the compression they'll flip it. What you want to do if you're going to backflip it, you take it to compression. It's on compression right there, and you got it primed. You've done everything that John just said. You got fuel in your line. It's primed. It's aerated. You hit it here backwards, and that's the free part of it. When it hits compression there, it's going to fire and start the right way. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Okay, so you're on compression. You hit it on this side. As it comes around and hits compression again, it will fire the other way. And a lot of times, I mean, with PAs and Aero Tigers, you spin the spinner. Literally.
Is backflipping it that way. You don't backflip through compression. You backflip to compression. But your fingers are out of the way of the prop.
Correct.
You know, when I do it, I always wait for the bump. After I go through it, I'll hook the needle valve to it, flip it through, feel the bump. If it bumps, I know I got enough in there. I'll bring it back up and just whack it.
Yeah, you can do it that way too.
I figure if I'm
starting in this way because it's a programmed thing. I know that if I do this 6 to 8 flips this way and then 6 to 8 more flips with it open, it's ready to go.
Yeah.
So Bill, let me translate that. What John is saying is like, as you know your motor, you know how you're going to start every single time. And every motor is a little bit different, right? So, but in time, you're going to figure out, like, when you flip it, after obviously we flood them up a little bit when you start with them, right? So you keep flipping and flipping and flipping until you get your feel for it, right? So the motor is going to go back and forth. When you flip it, go like back and forth, right? And then you kind of like, that's kind of right? That's where
how's that go again?
Like that, right?
Sounds like Morse code.
So the prop that kind of bounces back and forth, you know, and then you put your igniter on. You grab the propellers, feel that bump. If it bumps, you're good to go. Fire it up, right?
And Bill, when you put the igniter on, be ready for it to start at any time. I actually have never had that happen in my life till yesterday, believe it or not. Yesterday.
Wow.
We were flying the Cox 049, the platter that Sam and I built.
49. Wow.
Sam was out at the handle. I filled the airplane up. I primed the engine. I connected the igniter, and I just moved, like literally just moved the airplane, and it started without me touching the propeller.
I've seen that happen on 049s. Never seen it happen with a big motor, but I have seen the 49s do it.
This one right here is notorious for starting without a glow plug on it.
Yeah. I've had that happen.
No, it's not.
I haven't
What
had
is that?
OPS, yep. And that thing, I kept telling people, I said, that thing bumps when I'm priming it. And they said, oh, bullshit. And I'm like, it does. Prime it. Well, the next flight up, I go to prime it, I flip it, and I was just going to flip it through to, like they said, you know, to atomize all the fuel in it. The second flip through, that thing went, took off, and everybody's just looking at me, and I'm like, I told you that thing was bumping.
Want to make it run better and be safer too? Put an extra head gasket in it.
Yeah, knock the compression down.
Yeah, I've got an FP40 that used to do that a lot, and it started in contest at Huntersville. It started without the battery on. The judges said, "You're supposed to signal," and I held the battery up. I said, he said, "What?" I said, "I didn't put the battery on it yet."
Wow.
So it did it twice that day. The second
If you
time
want to save a little money and potentially cure the problem, run FAI fuel.
Well, that'll do it too. But at the time, I wasn't interested in FAI. But we put another head gasket in it. It quit knocking. If you're out flying and you're flying your motor and you hear it, it sounds like it's knocking. What that is your rod getting beat to death. Put another head gasket in the motor.
Yeah, pre-ignition.
This one in for RC, and it was on a pipe. So, you know, we're trying to get around 16,000 out of it anyway. So the more compression, the better. You know.
Yeah, if you're trying to run like that, you're gonna. I remember those days. I used to do that too when I flew pattern. I used to do that too. I've got an OS.
Phil,
yeah.
Sorry. So Phil, what did you do? Your engine's running. The judges are saying you're supposed to signal. What happened? What happened? I'm curious.
I just showed him. I showed him the battery, and he says, "Go ahead and fly it."
Okay, I mean, so it's clock then.
Yeah, it's not against the rules for the thing to start without the battery, but you're supposed to signal the judges
right so
at that time before you connect that battery, before you're ready to start. Well, I wasn't ready to start. The motor was, but I wasn't. I was still holding the battery. He said, "Go for it." And the only reason I got away with it, he'd seen me do it earlier in practice. It did it earlier in practice, and I didn't mean for it to do it then either, because I about had my finger in it the first time. I'm sitting there, wait a minute. And everybody's, what happened? I said, I wasn't ready for that fool thing to start. So anyway, we got out and flew, and it about threw me. But Luke, just before I walked out, Luke says, calm down, count to 10, walk to the line, and win the flight. So I just listened to my coach. Luke's been teaching me to fly for the last 40 years. I figure if I don't listen to him, one of these days he's going to hurt me.
And you didn't learn anything.
And I ain't learned nothing yet. Ain't learned nothing yet, Tran, but I keep trying.
I tell you, with RC.
Come here to Georgia. We're going to fly together. I'm going to teach you a couple of things, if I can.
I tell you what, come spring, I'm coming down there. I'm going to come down and fly with you some.
Reed Valve 049 will start either direction also, Bill.
Oh, yeah, and run that way.
Yeah.
And run that way. We used to fly profile protos, and we put backwards props on them.
Well, that's like even with some of the real high-speed pattern ships back in the day, they'll run both directions, and they're a bitch to change over. Well, the big thing we always did is when it started backwards.
Cha-ching.
We just take our hand like this and go on the spinner and bump it, and it'll change directions at an idle.
Yeah.
You don't do that on a control line airplane. When they're running backwards, you stick your hand like that on the spinner, you got a surface burn all the way around.
Yeah.
I did that at Brodak, had that damn FT running backwards, and I went to try to change direction.
I was wondering how you learned that.
And it never changed direction. I'm like, ow. holding an airplane that's, pushing at me, I finally ended up pinching off the line and shutting it down that way and restarting it. But yeah,
it's a hard lesson to learn. But
the other thing
is, it's very easy. You only do it once.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
Somebody told me a long time ago. He's not with us anymore, but he told me a long time ago. There's two kinds of people that put their finger in a propeller: the ones that have never done it before, and the ones that just haven't got a starter yet. And he started. Roy Trantham started everything with a starter. I never saw him start a motor with his fingers. He always used a starter. And we were at the Nationals a few years back, and one of the guys, can't think of his name, but he flew the Dove. Oh gosh, Powell. I know him. He's Stan Powell. He's from this area, and I couldn't think. I get brain, things sometimes. Anyway,
we never get that.
Okay, I hear you, Tran. You're young. You're a lot younger than me, brother. But he stuck his fingers in his prop one time, and Roy said, "See, that's what you get not using a starter. I can't. I have a starter in my box. A lot of guys use my starter at contests and out flying on Saturdays. Everybody says, 'Did you bring your starter?' I have my box. It's here. A lot of the guys use it, and I carry a hot battery in it. It's all ready to go. But I cannot bring myself to put a starter on a $40 deadgum spinner. I just can't do it."
Yeah, I understand that.
But I found an answer to this dilemma. Push the button, it goes dee, and I walk to the handle.
How did it go? How does it go again?
Dee. Mine just buzzes one good time. It just lets me know it got the signal. I walk to the handle, and 30 seconds later, she takes off. Another positive on the electrics, guys. I mean, I'm not trying to push them because I love them both. Yeah, you don't get your fingers caught. You can't get your finger in a spinner that you didn't have it in to start with. Another nice thing about the electrics is, now I just forgot what I was going to tell you, so never mind. Anyway, it's getting old as a bear.
One time,
you don't overrun in a flight.
Well, you don't overrun. You can always get it started. If you get your holder to do what you ask him to do, and when your motor starts up, you use a soft start. It comes up in 6. It speeds up 6 times. It starts running, and it goes dee 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 dee. When you get the third one, have him let it go, and the plane, by the time it gets to speed to take off, you've rolled your quarter turn. I'm sorry, I'm getting too loud. And you take off real nice and easy. You've got your quarter turn in, and you get max takeoff points if you don't try to just yank it in the air.
We were at an RC field, and a guy has a starter because he said same thing. You whack your fingers and all this. So he's out there. He starts his airplane, and he's got a guy holding it for him, and he runs it up to high throttle, and you could tell it wasn't leaned out enough. He wrecks right through the damn prop.
Oh,
wow!
And it's that starter did you a lot of good.
You remember about 4 years ago at Brodak, Bill did that.
Right through his prop to adjust the damn needle?
We just, reached right through the prop. And that's not what he said he did, but I was watching, and he went to take his battery off and adjust the needle, which he did every flight. He could have a perfect flight, and the next time he's going to touch that needle. That drove me crazy. But he reached in there and tried to grab that thing and tore his hand up. And Bill was not only a good flyer and all, he was a concert pianist. And I mean, he deserved the term. He was a really good pianist. I didn't think he'd ever use that hand again, but he said he got back 100%. He did real good. He was doing great.
I've seen that one time, and it's like, holy shit. You need to tell yourself, no matter how it's running, get behind that airplane to adjust stuff.
I saw Richard Oliver doing something like that at the Nats.
Yeah, I did too one year.
And all that good stuff.
Oh. Richard got tore up one year. Oh boy, that thing bit him.
Back in the 50s, when I was a kid, we had a right-hand heavy-duty glove. You put that on. You use that to start your engine, and you use it to adjust your needle valve. When you got everything done, you took it off, went out to the handle. You just didn't. I watched Gordon Delaney put his hand through the prop with a PA 61, I believe it was.
Ooh.
and a 3-bladed carbon fiber prop.
Oh, wow.
And he broke the carbon fiber prop. It cut his fingers to the bone.
Ouch.
Took out. They fixed the tendons on his other fingers, but he figured out, it cost a lot of money, I guess. So he didn't. I don't know what the reason, but they didn't do it on his pinky. His little pinky sits like that, and he regrets not having it done. But I mean, it happened to the best of us.
Oh yeah.
You just have to get distracted just a little bit.
Just a second's indecision or just distraction, and you can get hurt quick.
But think about almost everything that you guys are talking about is during a contest where you lose your head completely and you don't think straight.
Yeah,
I do that all the time.
I was born like that. I resemble that remark.
Cut his hand up. Yeah. We're not a contest at all. It does happen practice flying.
Yeah.
It happens.
The worst that I've heard of is in a contest.
Yeah, worst I've ever seen was a contest. But I will tell you one Gordon Delaney story. We were at the Nats, and we were cutting up out there. And he come up and was flying that big, what was that big semi-scale thing he had?
The Heinz, the KI-61.
Yeah, that thing. No, it had a 4-stroke in it.
He had a 4-stroke in that.
Okay.
That 81 or 82, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was huge. Boy, when he went to backflip and somebody went to ask him a question, and I thought, oh, no, this is not the time to walk up and ask a question. And Gordon turned around, and that propeller came back and slapped his hand. I thought he broke his fingers. He shook it off, never missed a beat, answered the question, turned around, held his hand for a minute. The thing still plugged up. He turned around and popped that thing one time. It started. He walked out, grabbed his neat valve, grabbed his battery off, walked out and flew that airplane. That is a tough old bird.
Yes, he did.
I mean, when that prop hit him, it was an oh my gosh moment. That thing, I know it hurt.
Well, that's when we started using starters when the 4-strokes came around and we were flying. Because them damn things, I mean, they're hard to backflip through the because it'll hit and it won't make it all the way over through the compression on the next stroke and stuff. So we always back them off and hit them with a starter. But 4-strokes, man, that was the whole thing, is that them things will whack you so hard.
Yeah, well, they will.
Be careful trying to turn a 4-stroke engine.
Paul Walker, the year we had the Nationals in Muncie, was practicing with his red, white, and blue, that beautiful Mustang he had. And I was talking to Tom Looper and a couple of the guys and Bobby Hunt, and I said, I think Bobby was there then. I turned around and said, that thing don't sound just right. And just a second later, it went poof, and it just looked like it exploded. I said, well, I went over and asked Paul, and Paul was in shock, I think. I said, what happened? He said, I think it threw a blade, and the vibration just tore it to pieces. He had a 3-blade prop on that thing, and he was turning crazy RPM. I've never heard anybody fly a 4-stroke as fast as he, not fast lap time, I mean fast RPM, as he flew his. It was a 72 4-stroke, and I mean it was screaming. And buddy, when it threw that blade, the thing just absolutely exploded. I've never seen anything like it. And this was the Concours d'Elegance airplane from the year before at Nats. That made me sick.
There was a time there where they're trying to run the 4-strokes like you run a pipe ship at low pitch, high RPM. And I know Gordon on the 20 there, he ran 13,000 RPM or more on that big 4-stroke on that Heinz. And I said, why don't you try a 6-inch pitch prop? Oh no, but that's really what they've come to now in 4-strokes, 6 or 7-inch pitch prop, and slow down the power down in that band anyway.
Well, that's where it makes its power. It's a torque engine. You got to fly it where it makes its torque.
Yep.
I've got a 56 I had a 56 on a Stunt Fire plane that came out many years ago, just when tune pipes were really getting popular, but it looks like a big Gillis kit. And it was built for a Tiger 60, and I didn't like it with a Tiger 60, so I put a 56 4-stroke in it. it flew great until I don't really know what caused the problem. I have a feeling it was the guy had launched and heavy-handed it and probably squeezed too hard before he let go and didn't realize it, whatever. Something must have happened because I was flying and I went to do a wing over, and when I pulled up, it was like the wing went and the tail didn't. It just came down like that and just made an awful mess. I told the guy, I said, that made me sick.
Yeah.
That really made me sick.
I don't know if you guys know about speed ships.
Mm-hmm.
The wings actually bolt or screw on.
Yeah.
It comes up to that pan and stuff and all that stuff. They screw on there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's aluminum glued together too.
Yeah.
The wings.
So I put the wings on my brother's airplane and I use red Loctite. So I know that all the bolts were Loctited. So on his first flight, I think it was his first flight, we launched and it came out of that little tray thing, the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came out of there, it hooked a little bit and it came down and bumped the propeller. And we heard it go zzz. You heard just this little
that's all it takes.
It started going around, and every time I was feeling charged of carbon fiber, and I started running away from the circle to get behind a screen, and the screen was big enough but it started throwing pieces of that prop.
Uh-oh.
It started vibrating, and finally, the whole prop disintegrated. It went into a shaft run. It lands, and it was screaming so high of RPM there on the ground, the wings fell off. Them Loctited screws backed themselves out and the wings fell off. When I got there, I picked up the airplane and jammed the spinner into the tar and it melted. We still couldn't. It finally quit. It melted a hole through the piston. But the vibration was so bad, it actually backed out red Loctited screws out of the wing.
Wow.
But both wings fell off that thing. When I picked it up to jam it in, the wings just said, whoop, it fell off the airplane. And everybody said, you should have Loctited them. And I said, I'm the one who Loctited them. And my brother said, yeah, I watched him do it. Because he was holding the airplane when I was Loctiting and tightening all the screws on there at home.
Steve, does he ever fly anymore?
I haven't talked to him in almost 2 years, so I don't know.
I haven't seen him in, I don't know when. The last time I saw him, it seems like he ended up with that tan and white impact that Stan Powell built. I think he bought that at the Nationals. That was a beautiful airplane.
No, he bought it from the guy who bought it at the Nationals.
Oh, okay.
He died and my brother bought it.
Oh, okay. That's a good airplane. It's
he paid $200 for it with the PA-61 pipe.
Everything. Mama.
Oh, did he get a deal?
Boy, did he ever. Stan's a marvelous builder and finisher. The reason Stan sold that thing, that's the one he put his propeller in, his fingers in the prop one year. And the next year he went, I don't think he'd flown the plane 3 times since the Nats the year before. And he went out there and it got a hole in the pipe. He said he was just tired of fooling with it. One minute it's got one flight, it's got great power. And the next flight, it just didn't seem like it had any at all. And we're all telling him, that thing changed sound. You got a hole in the pipe or something. Something's up. And he went ahead and tried to fly it. Not in the contest, just in practice. But it had a hole in the pipe. And it got Stan so perplexed that he just wouldn't. He just got tired of it. I wish I'd known he was going to sell it cheap, though. I'd have bought it.
I almost had Walter Ullman. Well, actually, I did have him ready to kit Stan Powell's Dove.
Mm-hmm.
And he put it up on the comments to see if anybody would be interested, because he likes to have a commitment, for 5 to 10 kits before he goes into production, because it's time and money,
Yeah.
Anyway, he couldn't get enough commitments, so he didn't do it. But I would have loved to have seen that plane being kitted by him.
Yeah, I'm still looking for one of his Colossus.
That's
That's one kit I would really love to build. I can't find one.
What's that, Steve?
That's
Talk to Gordon.
Talk
about his.
That's the landing gear for that airplane.
Nice.
From off of that. But yes, it's like a tan it's a yellowish tan or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty. But yeah, if I ever talk to my brother again, I'll give him back to him. But
well, ask him if he wants to sell it for what he's got in it. I'll sure take it.
I could have bought it. They asked me first, but we were headed to the World Championships in like 2 days, and I'm like,
oh, money's too
I want to
tight
kick
then.
out $200 right now, or take the money with me just in case something happened, you know.
Right, sure.
And Samantha was gone to electric, and it's like, you know, a PA-61 with a pipe, the whole setup, the carbon fiber prop, the whole deal for $200. I should have did it no matter what.
Yeah, I'd have done it if I didn't have to get to eat that week.
Is this the one Mark Weiss had at Brodax, Steve?
What's that?
Is this the one Mark Weiss had at Brodax?
No, that was a SB-22.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I thought we were talking about
this is an Impact.
Okay, it was tan as well. It was a tan airplane too, or beige or something.
Where's Steve?
Diana Cream.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Diana Cream.
I sold that. I got to Dick for $100. It was too big I paid $150.
Yeah.
It was too big for Samantha.
I almost bought it, but I didn't have room to get it home.
No, it was a beautiful airplane. I mean, that was the year that we brought back, I don't know, 13, 14 airplanes in the back of that. No, that was a different year. We brought that home in Samantha's Subaru Legacy. We got it. It took about 10 minutes to figure out how to get it in there because the wingspan was so long and it would hit. And we finally figured out if we turned it upside down and did something, it would barely fit in there. We put cloth on the wingtips and then packed our other airplanes in around it.
You know, hacking an airplane, Steve. But back in the day, I was driving around in a little 91 Geo Metro.
Yeah.
And I went to the Northwest Regionals from Salt Lake carrying 4 airplanes, and one of them was that orange and black monster back there at Twin Flight Streak, which is, I think, 76 or 84 inch wingspan on it. That was coming from the front seat up against the windshield all the way to the rear window, up on top of everything. And there was.
I can't see you getting in that car.
And that was it. There was no extra room.
I can't see you.
I got a buddy
getting in that airplane.
I got a buddy that collects those Geo Metros down in Florida. He's got like 7 of them.
Those are good little cars, to be honest with you. They're taken care of.
He gets them for like $300-400, and parts are readily available. And he fixes them up, and he drives them and sells them. He put like 300,000 miles on one of his Metros.
I had 180 on mine when I gave it to my brother.
They're good cars if you take care of it, but it's just like most cars out there today. You gotta maintain the darn thing.
Well, they really need that regular oil change and filter change. That center cylinder is one that gets hot.
Yeah.
You know, 3-cylinder engine, and you got to keep an eye on it. But if you keep good oil going through it, it helps cool it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of those motors are definitely oil cooled.
Yeah. The best car I had for getting airplanes in it was that Kia Sophia. And that car had good leg room in the back, but it didn't have a bump, and it was 100% flat. And I'm like, I wonder if I took the seat out of that, what it'd be like under it. And it was 100%. I'd just take the seat out of it, and hell, I could put in 10 airplanes in there without.
Wow. It's like a little minivan.
Huh?
That's neat.
It was like a little minivan.
Yeah, it was like a little minivan back there. I mean, I could get more airplanes in that car than I could in my pickup truck.
Wow.
Good gracious.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I just pulled the whole, pulled the bottom seat, the back seat out, and it was steel in the back. And it just gave me cargo space in there.
Well, I know I wouldn't mind getting another Geo Metro because that thing, I get 39 to 40 miles a gallon, just everywhere. And I had an 8-gallon tank. I could drive from here all the way to Los Angeles, on it. And
I just can't see you getting in a Geo Metro. I mean, I've seen you, and I know a Geo Metro, and
he took out the passenger seat. He forgot to tell you.
no, it just the seats go back far enough, but there's not a whole lot of room for anybody in the back seat.
No, you forget the back
He was
seat.
in that Metro. He took out the other seat doing that Chicago lean.
Well, I tell you what, I worked with a guy that's as big as me, and he was at least 100 pounds heavier, and he drove a Geo every day for about 10 years, and it never let him down. He finally had a problem. The front main seal went bad, and it took me about 2 hours to change the front main seal. You've never seen a motor any easier to work on in your life. It's like working on a lawnmower. And changed it in the parking lot at work. I said, okay, now you need to put 3 quarts of oil in it because it's all oil. When I pulled the front seal off, all the oil came out. He said, what about the oil pan? I said, all the oil's out of it. We need to go get some oil, put some oil in it. He hadn't changed the oil in that thing, and I couldn't tell you when. It was so thick it was like grease.
Oh,
that's terrible.
So I put good oil in it, made sure it changed the oil in it. Because, if I hadn't, it'd burn it out again, and then I'd have gotten credited with not putting it in right or something. So I said, no, we're going to go ahead and change the oil in this thing.
Yeah.
So we changed the oil, changed the filter, took the filter out of it. The filter had been in it since day one. It still had the paint on it when they painted the motor.
Oh, geez.
Oh, boy, I'm telling you.
How many miles did he have on that?
131, I think.
Wow.
Oh.
He drove it another 4 years before he sold it.
Wow.
Was it LeBron James that had to deal with Buick for a while? A Buick something or other?
There was one of them that did, yeah.
And Charles Barkley said, he goes, that's such a farce. There was no engine or firewall in that car. Get in it.
He just sit in the back seat.
I seen a thing with Dennis Rodman. And they took the front seat out, and he was driving the car from the back seat.
Wow.
To give him enough leg room and stuff. But hell, he's almost 6'11".
Yeah. Well, watch Police Academy. That I forgot his name.
Hightower.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Hightower pulled the front seat out of the thing and was sitting in the back seat. And that man really is that tall. I met him one time in L.A. And I said, "Oh my gosh, he's huge." Some of those guys really are quite tall, quite large.
Well, I can imagine the Shaq trying to get in a Geo Metro.
But they asked him, why all the basketball players drive Bentleys. And
they got room.
But actually they make the Bentleys with the seat that goes back farther for them.
Oh yeah.
So it probably slides back to the back seat.
You know the difference between a Rolls Royce and a Bentley?
The badge.
Bentley's handmade. Bentley is handmade. They're all custom made. You have to pre-order that car. You'll never see a Bentley sitting on a new car lot unless it's already sold. They don't build it until it's sold.
Really?
Yeah. They're already pre-sold when they buy them, when they build them.
Well, hell, Volkswagen owns Bentley and they own Rolls. I
can't figure that one out. They own two of the best made cars out there, and they own the total poop.
But give Volkswagen their due. The modern Volkswagen is a pretty decent car.
Well, they are, but I just hate that they've had to go through so much. They had to fib so much to get their cars to pass emission and all, and they got caught. But
hell, Volkswagen, they own Ferrari, they own Lamborghini.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that they owned all them different.
Bugatti Veyron.
Do what?
Bugatti Veyron. It's owned by Volkswagen.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's pretty neat.
I think it was the fastest production car in the world.
It was.
It is.
It was. I think it still is. The thing that got me was when Fiat bought Chrysler.
Yeah.
I said, now that ain't a farce.
Yeah.
But I hear now all our police departments around here use Dodge Chargers, And I hear next year they're going to drop the Charger, the Challenger, and something else. They're going to build the 300, a couple of minivans, and about 5 cars they're going to build. That's it. And they're going to build 3 or 4 different trucks. And I don't know if that's true or not now. That Scotty Kilmer on the internet was telling that the other night. So
Well,
I don't know if it's true or not.
What Ford? The only car Ford makes now is the Mustang?
Mustang and the Fiesta.
I know my Mustang, my 79 Mustang, the transmission was from France.
Yeah, but I mean, Ford dropped all of their cars because they can't compete with Toyota and Honda and stuff like that on cars, so they went with all SUVs and trucks. They kept the Mustang. I didn't know they kept the Fiesta. But
I think it's the Fiesta. It's one of the small cars like that.
So they got rid of the Fusion and
the Focus.
The Focus.
Focus. There you go. Focus.
Yeah, they got rid of all them.
And they kept the Mustang.
Yeah, that's it. The Focus. Okay.
But yeah, that's what all these car companies are doing now.
Well, most of the vehicles made in the United States today by the big three are all pickup trucks.
Yeah.
Well, Phil, do you remember the original Fiesta was nothing more than a Volkswagen Rabbit, right?
Yeah, I do remember that.
That was back in what, the late 70s, early 80s?
I should be able to tell you the year because I had one, but I can't remember what it was called. I can't remember what year it was.
One of the guys I grew up with had one too.
Well, I bought a used GM's. Remember the Chevy Love?
That was my favorite. I love that truck.
That was a
and a Isuzu.
A Isuzu, and their small car was an Isuzu.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well,
besides
Dodge,
a piece of junk.
Dodge sold the Colt, and there was another one. I can't remember what the other one was. They were really Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Dodge going to Mitsubishi was about their downfall. We bought a brand new Dynasty. It's the only new car my wife and I have ever had since we both had brand new cars when we were dating. And we went for years with just used cars, and we bought a brand new 1988 Dodge Dynasty. And I thought she needed a new car, so I got on a pickup truck because she got a new car. That thing had a Mitsubishi engine in it. That was the biggest. You guys look pretty healthy, but ain't a one of you could run fast enough to give me a Mitsubishi.
A guy at work won a Yugo.
Oh gosh!
And he said he'd have saved money if he bought a car.
Yeah,
There was one back in the 50s. It was made by Panzer, and they gave them away as if you buy a new car from this dealership in Los Angeles, they gave you one of those.
Yeah.
And it was they said it was tough. They always showed it up on its side so you could see its undercarriage. You know, I think it's because it's too ugly to look at it any other way. But I remember actually seeing a couple of those on the road. But do you remember the Isetta?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The front door opened. I mean, the whole front of the car opened up.
Yep.
3-cylinder BMW car. Yeah, 3-wheeled BMW car.
They had a couple. There's another one. Yeah, make one too.
Two of you talking at once.
I said actually the Isetta had 4 wheels, but the rear two are real close together.
Real close together.
Yeah.
But who else didn't Fiat make one of them that opened like that too?
You know, I think they did, but I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I know when a friend of mine bought a house in Alaska when I lived up there, and I helped him redo the house. And in the back garage in the backyard were about 4 of those Isettas, and we took those things, loaded them in my pickup truck, took down, and dropped them in the dump.
Yeah, 4 of them to keep one of them running.
I tell you what, though, I think they probably would have been worse. What was that? What was that black actor that he had a tagline like, "Well, what?" or "Looky" or something. But big tall guy, and he drove a little Isetta in the.
Did I do that?
Did I do that? That's the one.
Urkel.
Yeah.
Urkel.
Yeah, he drove an Isetta.
When I was over there and lived in Switzerland in '82, them things were all over the place there.
I mean, look at what gas cost even back then.
Well, the thing is that all the roads in them old towns are still made for horse and buggies.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. You can't get 2 full-size cars down the road there. And in the one town there, every time the bus came through, the police would have to block off the road and let the bus come through, and then they'd open the road back up in both directions. It was a deal is that they blocked the road off. The bus stop was there. People got on, got off, and off the damn, through the town. That bus, and the bus had to go slow to make corners and everything else.
What town was that? What town was that, Steve?
I lived in Turbental.
Oh, okay. The reason I asked, a branch of my family comes from Saginaw in Barron County.
Oh, okay.
Lord, I'm telling you.
But yeah, I mean, and when you get to Italy and stuff like that, in some of these towns are 600 years old.
Only?
The roads are just little things.
That's a new town in Italy if it's 600 years old.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
I got a friend, and my daughter has a good friend in France. She's a friend of mine too, but she's actually a friend of my daughter's. They bought a place in France and rebuilt the house. Well, now this doesn't sound much. I'm figuring there's a house there, and they went in, knocked some walls out or whatever, and rebuilt it.
Funny.
Yeah, that's what I said after seeing the pictures. It is funny. What they bought was a piece of land that had a rock, not brick, rock foundation on it that's 600 years old. I think it was even older than that. And they rebuilt a house around it, but they had to build to the original size of the house and basically rebuild the original specs of the house. Who the heck wants to live in a 600-year-old house?
I know.
It's the only thing you can afford.
Well, they won't let you build anything else. You can't build something new. You have to build something. This is a historic town, and you have to build to that specs. And I'm sitting there. I thought this was something weird. She says, "No, France is like that all over the place."
Phil,
you don't go build a new house. Yeah,
Phil, just up the road, 30 miles from where I live, is the Tintic Mining District, a town called Eureka and Silver and things like that. Okay, with this, you can buy. You go up to Silverton, you can buy land there that has an old foundation. You have to build on the old foundation. You cannot buy an empty lot and put your own foundation in. And so, you'd be surprised. It's kind of the same kind of thing. They build a nice home and squeeze it in onto this foundation. But that's the only way you're going to get one in that area.
I didn't think America did that. That's interesting.
His best friend bought a house the same year that I did. I paid $27,000 for this little 2-bedroom ranch that I bought. He bought a house in Switzerland for $200,000, and it was almost 300 years old. And he had, I guess, only one room had electric in it. They stripped out everything out of it, actually put in wiring. They put in heat. I'm not sure. I think they used boiler heat, but they ran all the piping and stuff like that because each room had its own place for a stove. Yeah. That's how old this house was. And they blocked up the chimneys and all that kind of stuff. And, but he worked on it for like 4 years. But that old for $200,000, and he had to put work into it. I'm like, oh my God.
But I bet you it's worth probably over $1 million right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is, because now it has plumbing and everything else. He said when he bought the house, it still had a house behind it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good increase on your investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make money buying old houses and fixing them up. But I'm here to tell you, as somebody that got stuck with one and having to redo it, you can spend an awful lot of money too.
Money paid.
If you buy one, you're going to fix up. Go hire a good contractor that knows the business and knows where to get stuff. He'll save you. I mean, you think you're paying him a bunch of money, he'll save you more than he's costing you.
Yep. Over there in Switzerland, as you had to have a big down payment. But when you came up with that down payment, then the Swiss government loaned you the money at like 0.5% interest. Just to cover.
No wonder you buy a big house.
Huh?
No wonder you can buy a big house.
Well, yeah, but that was something that the government did, wanting people to own a house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They had to come up with a down payment, but then it was basically almost interest-free. It was supposed to cover back then, it might be up more than 1%, but that would cover the loan for people doing the work on the loans.
Gracious.
But, so.
Only in America do we have the balloon payment system.
Well,
not anymore, man.
Switzerland, we had it though.
Switzerland is an interesting country. For instance, if you are like me, have a major Swiss heritage in your line, if you, at least this used to be 20 years ago, if you were along the patriarchal line, the son, grandson, great-grandson, great-great-grandson of a Swiss national here in the United States, if you decided you wanted to go back to Switzerland, they made you a citizen again, just like that.
Yep. And the other thing is that Hansi was telling me that he goes, if you could prove you have so much Swiss blood, I don't know if it was 12% or whatever it was, you could actually go buy land or a house in Switzerland. If you're not a citizen of Switzerland, you cannot own property in that country.
Same thing in Mexico.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
You can lease land.
You can come there and get a work visa. You can get it, an immigrant, get your green card or whatever they call it there. But if you don't have Swiss heritage, you can never buy a house. You can rent and live there and everything else. But yeah, you can't buy any land.
That's something. I never knew that.
Yeah. No,
so Mike, how did those airplanes fly?
Tom. I was feeling it, Tom. I was going to say, let's talk about airplanes.
Yeah.
We have like 15 viewers now. We had 20.
I'm going to try to go flying in the morning, but it's probably going to be Wednesday morning before I get to go. If the wind keeps up like it did today, won't be able to go. I walked out this morning and the wind about literally blew me down. So I said, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
Tom, this is the one we made Friday night.
Yep. It still exists. I'm impressed.
I saw your daughter flying that on a video there.
That's the thing, man. Sam was flying the hell out of it, and then my daughter said, I want to try it. So that doesn't count.
Okay. No, I just got to give you a hard time.
My daughter decided she wanted to try it, so her third flight, man, she soloed and ran out a whole tank of gas on it. So that
really
pretty good.
Mike, is that the Golden Bee you started in your hand the other night?
Yeah, that's the Golden Bee. Runs like a top, man.
You started in your hand,
and then some of the neighborhood boys were hanging around, and they started flying it. Two of the neighbor boys, about Sam's age, decided they wanted to try their hand at it, so they flew it. So last night, I got out the bag of 049s, and I put together a couple more 049s, and today I built two more. Just finished.
You're going to be a popular dude.
Just put the bell cranks in them just now got them done. But
fantastic.
I went and got a piece of foam board this morning from Kroger, and I banged both of these out today. So, and then since I didn't have any Golden Bee stunt tanks left, and I didn't want to run one with a single vent hole because they always just suction empty when they're inverted. I only had the plastic backplates, but I had a whole bunch of these perfect tanks.
Yeah, I see.
So right there.
Neat deal.
So we'll be flying these tomorrow. I hope when the kids get off the bus.
What kind of propeller is that? Is that a top flight propeller?
That's a Tornado 5.4.
Nice.
5.4. Yeah, I got a bag. I think I picked up a Ziploc baggie at a swap meet, and it had 25 of these in a new in the bags. I think I give the guy $5 for 25 prop.
Nice.
I have more scars from that type prop than any other propeller I've ever been bit by.
Yeah, if you get a little bit of oil on your hands, a little bit of fuel, them props become real slippery.
They got a ton of engine offset in them.
See that?
And a ton of rudder. Well, that's how you make them. This is the Osborne Platter. This is Bill Osborne's airplane on the Herman Lee website on the Aeromaniacs. He's the one that came up with this design. I mean, they stay right out on the line, and if you keep the speed up, you can do nice big 8s with them and stuff. But if you stall them out, they'll fly like a bislob. you can actually slob them, and these two are actually foam board. The other one is Coroplast. I think it weighs it's probably twice as much. I mean, it's pretty considerable, the weight difference. I think the performance on these is going to be a lot better. Got a nickel on the outboard there for tip weight. And
very nice.
Hey, Mike, you'll have both kids flying at contests here pretty soon then.
God, I hope not.
You have your daughter start going to contests, you know?
No, Sam wouldn't like that very much, man.
When she starts flying, Mike won't get to fly. He'd be too busy starting.
Why wouldn't I be?
John Paris finished his airplane with the stuff from Hobby King. Said it worked great.
What were you saying, Trent?
That the airplane stuff. I make sure that we have time together doing stuff for me and her, things that she's interested in doing.
This doesn't involve you dressing up in a tutu, does it?
Sometimes.
Probably it does.
Sometimes, if that's
all right.
That's what it takes, John, to make her happy, you know.
You're a brave man, and I salute you for it.
It's a nice dad. He's a good dad.
A macho man to do that. That's all right.
No, she's really into skateboarding right now. That's kind of her thing. So I've been tweaking her skateboards for her and getting some upgraded parts for them, and the skate park, stuff like that. That's kind of where she's at. She's a little tomboy right now. So
I didn't see her knee scuffed up, so you got her dressed right.
Hey, Mike, when do we get to watch you pulling off the axle grind?
My skating days are over, man. They stopped when I was about 17, I guess. But I did skateboard in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. I did quite a bit.
I spent a lot of time at Marina Del Rey Skate Park and at Runway down in Orange County.
Yeah, skateboards and BMX. That's what I did as a kid.
Whittier Narrows had a really good BMX track. Whittier Narrows, and there was Devonshire Downs up in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah. But airplanes are where it's at, man. Forget all that other stuff.
And
she just want to prove that she can fly as good as the boys and stuff. She'll be like Samantha.
Well, I think that was part of it, is the boys were doing it, and I think Sam wants her to fly these platters so they can fly 2 up, and Sam can do some combat matches in the backyard with somebody. I think that's what he's thinking. But I don't know that he would be on board with her starting to go to stunt contests and combat contests and flying competitively. I'm not sure. I don't know what that says about his character and personality, but I don't think he wants to share me with her on that.
Especially if she starts beating him.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, I was going to say, if she gets good enough, she starts beating up on him. There's already a lot of people that give Sam airplanes. I guess I had to start looking to see what I got downstairs that I can give her.
We don't need any more, man. we're covered up.
I saw a picture of your wall back there. I said, my gosh. I thought I had a lot of airplanes, but you got me beat 2-1.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, a lot of them are combat birds, so they don't.
You got a lot of planes.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that's
hell, Samantha, she rode dirt bikes. She inline skated. She skated on regular rink skates. I mean, she did that. She flew model airplanes. So she did that, and she was in track.
Yeah, sounds like my daughter. And then motorcycles and now she drives a pickup truck and has a son trying to keep up with him. But when I was fishing a lot of tournaments and winning a lot of tournaments, I took my daughters fishing. The oldest daughter didn't care anything at all about it, but the younger one wore my butt out.
Like the fish?
Yeah, she not just like to fish; she's really good at it.
She's good at it.
She's really good at it.
Emma's in the shooting sports too. Both my kids shoot. My whole family, we all shoot. But sometimes I'll ask Sam to go, and he's like, I don't want to go today. And Emma will hear, and she's like, I'll go. Let's go, Dad. Go to the range. She's all about it.
You mentioned going to the range to either one of my daughters or my wife. They got their gun bag ready before you got yours ready.
Yeah. Yeah, and she got. I started her in archery last year too. I got her a compound bow, so she's doing that as well. So she has her own things. She's got her own things.
I want to do a recurve bow.
Recurve. Yeah, I got my grandfather out in the other garage. I have my grandfather's. It's a Fred Bear bow from like 1952 recurve.
Oh yeah.
Probably not safe to shoot anymore, so it's just a piece of wall art, really.
Laminated bamboo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one of those downstairs.
Yeah, and I think this thing had about 75-pound pull on it, man. It was ridiculous, man.
Yeah, you know how you put the string in it, don't you? Get it wrapped around your legs and pull it to you.
Oh yeah, I've had a few recurves. My ex-father-in-law, my last wife's father, he had a glass eye compliments of a recurve bow that he was stringing, and it popped on him, and he lost his eye.
Yeah,
I
put one of those things on one time and wasn't paying attention, and got it wrapped around, got string, and let it go, and just pinched the fire out of my leg.
Oh yeah,
just oof.
Hey, let me ask Pete. What's his report on the Saginaw? Peter, you got your sound on?
Hello, Pete.
Hey, Pete. Saginaw report.
What's going on, Peter?
How's it going?
I think he's got his sound turned off. Hey, Peter. How's the Saginaw? How's the Saginaw?
Unmute your mic, Peter.
Unmute your mic, Pete. You must have it muted. We can't hear you.
Still muted.
We can't hear you. He says, "What's going on?"
It was right here.
One thing about losing a lot of your hearing, you learn to read lips.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my mom. I didn't realize how good my mom was at reading lips until everyone started wearing masks. I knew she was about deaf, but I didn't realize she's about totally deaf. You put a mask on, she cannot hear anything you say.
Yeah.
But she refuses to wear her hearing aids.
Yeah. A couple of the guys I fly with, we go out to dinner or something, and they refuse to wear their hearing aids, and you got to about shout at them. And then they go out to the field, and you're flying, and they put their darn hearing aids on. Why would you wear them here? This is what deafened you in the first place.
Anyway. Hey, guys.
You can't hear you, Peter.
You guys want to see a polish?
No, I can't hear you.
Yes.
Can't hear you, Pete.
Holy smoke. That thing's
nice
a mirror.
shiny.
That's a mirror. Wow.
Why did you make them out of aluminum and the others out of the other stuff? Is there a reason?
Yeah.
Money.
Money.
Oh, okay.
Money.
This
is relatively inexpensive, and this tooling board is also relatively inexpensive. But if you try to get a piece of aluminum this size over here, you're looking at over $1,000 easy.
Yep. Yep.
You're not even breaking a sweat, just easily over $1,000.
I never even heard of that tooling board before. That's interesting.
Yep. So yeah, the idea here is that this was I was searching for a tooling board, and most of them are porous. You have to put some kind of a sealer on top of them to seal them up, and it just takes a lot of work. But when I found this one here, that is designed to be sanded and polished and stuff like that, so you don't need to do any of that sealing, none of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's also made out of urethane, which is technically the material that you use to make molds out of anyway. So it's compatibility stuff, and it's very hard. This is a very hard urethane, and it's very. This is hard stuff. It's just like.
Yeah.
So
like a piece of marble.
Yeah,
was it machined? Try it.
What?
Was it machined or was it a mold?
Machined.
Machined. Okay.
Yeah. So it comes in a board. This board in particular is 72 inches long, 16 inches wide, and about I think it's 2 inches tall. Yeah, it's 2 inches tall, and and it was like about $300. So for $300, you have enough material to make a whole complete wing mold, top and bottom, and that's a very good price, by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, so but anybody else would have to pay a machinist a blue fortune to machine that thing. You being a machinist can do it yourself.
Yeah, that's how I cut the price down. Basically, I did most of the work myself. Now you can always do the classical way, make a mold and polished and whatever, and make a negative off of it and whatever, There are different ways of doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my goal was interchangeable parts, so precision and accuracy was paramount.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you even look at these molds here, you have to have a lot of things that are going on to make things work. Like if you look at this end here, do you see those square blocks on the ends?
Yeah.
Well, when I put my my end plate goes into those boxes over there, so it aligns it so it doesn't go like this or forward or backwards. It registers it perfectly.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you put it in here, just nice 90 degrees, and it's just perfectly aligned, right?
Right.
So that's one of the things that you have to take in account. Then another thing you have to take in account is that when you close these two guys, you want them to come together the same way, right? So
you got to have index pins.
Exactly. So now I have the index pins in it right here.
Yeah.
So this is drill and tap for the screws, so I can pull them together.
I believe I'm heard now.
Now we hear you now, Peter.
Okay.
And
that is really neat, Trey. You do some beautiful work.
And these
Everybody flip that and blind me.
You see the
I tell you what.
Yeah. So that's for the stab and elevator triad.
Yeah, this is the horizontal. So those are the pins over there. So when you put them together, they don't move this way, right? So they come on top of each other. And, obviously that's that.
If you guys haven't seen one of his planes, if you ever see him at a contest, you got to look to see how it goes together, and the way that it's just the neatest plane out there. It may not. Some of the guys said, I like it, but it's all black. Like that was something wrong. I said, it's carbon fiber. It's molded. And the guy I said it to says, you're kidding. I said, no, go look at it. He went over and looked at it. He's amazed by it as I am. But Peter's got more work in his attachment system and bell crank than most people got in their whole darn airplane. But he's got a bell crank that's unbelievable. That thing is neat.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, Peter, how far is your Saginaw along?
Which?
You got the wings done?
Fuselage is done. The elevator is done. The stab is done. I've got the flaps are all sanded. Basically, at this point, I just have to build the wing, and then it's all assembly and cover.
Outstanding.
Sounds neat. I tell you what, if the wings end up looking, the fuselage end up looking as nice as the wheel pant did, I'm gonna be jealous.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, that is sharp. You do pretty work. You're still a wild man, but you do pretty work.
That's because he's Hungarian. And what the heck?
Yeah.
You ever watch Hungarians dance? Believe me.
Yeah. I tell you what, he does
Do
pretty
you
well.
know the reason for which I made the system, the bell crank system? You think it's funny?
I know what it does. You got the differential on the flat elevator in your bell crank.
Yeah, but do you know why I made it like that? That's all adjustable?
No, not really.
Because I had not a single clue in the whole world what kind of setup I'm going to end up with. So I
covered every single base, right?
So I can play with it all I want, and once I find something I really love, I can make something that's just one size fits all kind of thing.
Simpler. That's one size fits all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, it's a neat system.
Yeah.
I love the way the wires go in it, and you pull those locks around it. It says click, and it's in. There's no question. Did I push it far enough? Did I push it too far? No. It clicked in. It's done. It's just really neat. And the whole plane's like that. I picked it up. I picked it up down in Georgia, and I said, "How in the heck can this thing be this big and this light?" And it had the battery in it. And I told Tommy Looper about it. He says, "Yeah, but he doesn't leave. It's not sitting there with a battery in it." I said, "Tommy, they just landed it. It didn't. It had the battery in it."
Wow.
You're kidding. I said, "It's lighter than my Nobler, and it's twice the size." I don't know what that thing weighs, but it felt like 40 ounces or something. It was beautiful.
No, it's not. It's heavier than that. It's about 59 or so.
Well, I tell you what, it feels a lot lighter than that. That's heavier than the Nobler, but it's not. It sure don't feel like it. I picked the Nobler up, and it always feels like a ton.
On Stunt Hangar, Ted Francher article, especially when he was discussing, I believe his trivial pursuit of the 0 ounce stunter, and it turned out, at least with the trivial pursuit, that in that case of that airframe, heavier was better for some weird, bizarre reason.
Well, Al Raby did an article back in the '60s about that. He built wasn't it a must stunt? Seems like it was a must stunt. And he added weight and kept adding. This thing had a Fox 35 in it now. And he added weight and added weight and added weight. And he added a pound to it. And he said, the darn thing actually flew better, not at a pound, but at about 8 ounces heavier than it naturally was. It flew better. It penetrated better and just flew better than it did at the lighter weight.
Wow.
So he is probably, I know Al Raby designs, but those are pretty big fat airfoils on them, right?
Well, in the later ones, yes.
Yeah, when it's light, it doesn't penetrate. It doesn't have the punch to go through the.
Yeah.
To maintain momentum, you have slow down and speed up, and slow down and speed up. So so now you go I think that's why the general direction is when you have a heavier plane, you want a thicker airfoil.
Thick airfoil, and they're putting those.
Yeah.
What are they called? They're not vector directors. They're whatever. Those little
generators.
Yeah, vortex generators.
Yep.
They're putting them on the heavy airplanes. One of the guys locally put those on a lightweight airplane, and trust me, that don't work. He took them off right quick. He said that was terrible.
Ted Fancher, he built a Tucker Special for competition, and he actually wound up putting 8 ounces on the CG of that airplane.
Him and Brett Huck.
It didn't fly right until he put that extra weight on it. Now that doesn't have a real thick airfoil.
No,
but it isn't. You know, unlike, but I don't think it's as thin percentage-wise as Trans is. But it's probably about 16 to 18% when you figure the flaps in. You know.
Yeah, and that plane was. A Tucker is a very clean design.
Yes, it is. Based on a tie-in racing airplane, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
So what I found out is like, yeah, you have pluses and minuses on some designs. Yeah, the thicker foil, probably heavier plane, maybe it's easier to build or something like that. But I'm thinking like the thicker foil you are hurting as soon as you go high up. Overheads, top of the hourglass, the top two loops in a four-leaf clover. Anything that's high up over 45, you know, and especially in a wind, because in a wind you say you do a vertical 8, right, and you do the loop here, and now you start to climb. As soon as you climb into the wind sees that big parachute, you know, big airfoil, pushing you back. Now you need a weight to punch through it, right?
Yeah.
You just keep like a choo-choo train, right? You can't stop a train because it has the weight to it, right?
Yeah.
No matter how hard you push. So now they need the weight to punch through it. Otherwise, if they were light, the wind would just stop them on tracks, and then they get loose on the lines and stuff like that. I think that might be the issue there.
It might be.
Yeah.
So Sparky was talking about how heavy the Bearcat was going to be. Mine feels very light because it's so bloody big. It's just really big airplane. But I talked to Larry Drone the other day. I told y'all his was light. I talked to Larry Drone and I asked him, what did your Bearcat weigh? Because mine isn't painted yet. And he said, well, you got one. I said, but Larry, mine's not painted. What does yours weigh? What did yours weigh? He said 58.
Whoa.
58, but he had a Sato 72 in it, and Larry is a little different. He don't fly on 20% nitro like Al Raby. Al Raby told me fly 20% on a normal day, and when it gets hot, go to 30. Al didn't talk to Larry apparently because Larry was flying his on 5 and 10, and it worked. It flew well, but now a gust of wind did get him, and he said it flamed out. A gust of wind hit it, and for some reason it flamed out all at the same time. But he said it was already in trouble before the engine flamed out. But it just destroyed itself on the tarmac. But I'll tell you one thing, they're beautiful airplanes, and I called his a pickle barrel. And I heard somebody else call Al's plane a pickle barrel. But it does have a roar in it when it flies because there's so much open space in that thing. But they're so beautiful. They're really pretty planes watching them fly. But the weight just doesn't seem to bother them. They're so big, but they're a 72 4-stroke's pretty good sized motor.
Yeah, but you have the power to pull your feet and do the stuff, but you can't really corner with those big planes.
No, it definitely don't corner like Revolutions. But Trey, and there's the only thing I've seen, the only thing that I would put money on and bet would turn better than your Revolution would be a Tiyasaki, a well-built, well-flown Tiyasaki. Might turn better than your airplane, but that would be a might. That plane, I don't know if you realize how impressive your airplane is when you come down out of a wing over and that thing's just a bam. You fly so deep in and it just turns right now. That's just impressed the heck out of me first time I saw it. I've never seen a flapped airplane that turned like that.
Yeah.
When Tom Looper come over and watched it, trust me, brother, when you get Tom Looper to look at something and his jaw drops, you've done something. You've done something. He said, I haven't seen it. Well, Tom holds the record for the tightest. He's the only one that ever turned finished an hourglass and about made me, I'm not going to say it, but he scared the crap out of me. I just knew that plane. was brand new, and I just knew it was in the tarmac. He come out of an hourglass at 4 feet high, and it turned right now and came around in front of me at 4 feet high, and I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
It just impressed the heck out of me. And I hadn't really had too many planes impress me like that until Bear did it at Nats with the Big Bear.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trayan did it with his plane.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I don't get really impressed too easy.
Mm-hmm.
But that one impressed the heck out of me. And then I saw all the other innovations in the Revolution, and I got to tell you, that's a neat airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a different way of looking at things, and I think he's on the right track.
He's got
Revolutions.
You've got a potential winning.
Hey, Tryon, have you got all your other molds back from Chicago yet?
They're on their way.
Are they shipping them or?
Yep. A little bit at a time.
You know anybody who wants to buy a wing and stab and stuff?
What'd you do? Bust a fuselage?
No, I never got a chance to build the fuselage. That was the whole plan. That I was going to go to Chicago and we're going to build the fuselage.
Well, you linger so much.
You guys didn't have the carbon fiber. We're waiting. It was
we have it for a while now. We bought a bunch of it in not too long ago. I mean, you had all summer to do it. Make it a profile then. Seriously.
How to sell the wings and tail to somebody who can.
Or you know what you can do? You just make a fuselage, make a regular fuselage to it, and call it a day.
Wings and tail for what?
Yeah, I don't have all the little fittings and all that kind of stuff, so that plane is kind of.
I'll get you some fittings for that.
But I don't know. I'll sell the stuff off if anybody wants.
I have to talk to you later about that, Steve.
$50. There you go. $50. Ship it to me.
150. That's what I paid for it.
How much is a fuselage going to cost me, Tryon?
For what?
A Revolution.
Oh.
A fuselage? I don't know.
See, my whole plan was, and you could actually do it. The thing is that Samantha was going to go to Chicago and build a fuselage. Now it's BOM legal.
I got you.
Now it's what?
Builder of the model.
BOM.
Well, if she went and helped him build it, that would
right.
That would negate that.
That part's all gone now because we could get there on a weekend or something like that and do it. But Mike's close enough to where he could go down there and build one. Him and Sam.
That's the reason I said I had to talk to you, because I might have to try to do that. I want a Revolutions. I've already told Trey, and I want one.
But yeah, I got
the
wing, the nose, and the stab. It just has to be the fuselage. That's all that's left.
Well, I might have to look in. May have to talk to you, Steve, because I could end up with two of them. Have a spare.
Well, hey,
I'm one of them oddballs that likes to have a spare. Hey, you got 36s and props, and I ain't got none of that stuff. So I can't feel too bad.
Hey, look who's here.
Hey, he's been on for a while. He just had to show his face.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, how's everyone?
Wow. What's going on?
Yeah.
Howdy.
Yeah,
life in Vegas.
This one figured out.
Hey, we haven't seen you on here.
Life in Vegas.
You been hanging out with your girlfriend too much, or what?
No,
froze up.
Hanging out with too much. I live with her.
Oh, you live with her now?
And probably it's new business too.
That's been the end of.
There goes the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's the end of a lot.
He was getting out a lot when he had his business.
New girlfriend.
Once he got his
wife, live together.
Hey, is the contest still on in November?
No.
We had canceled it just like everybody else did. Our governor says you can't have no more than 49 people in one location, and everybody's got to park and so forth. So based on those issues, I already expected to have more than 49 people, and that included people that are just helping to run the event.
Damn.
So based on all of that, and he says if you exceed that, you can get a $10,000 fine. And he's done that to other people. So we decided to cancel based on the rest of the contest calendar year got messed up. We canceled our year as well.
Oh, okay.
Because the only one that actually went through well was VSC. And sometimes they tried to do Whittier, the summer event, that got canceled twice.
What are they doing about the casinos? Are they?
I just heard when Golden they even canceled their.
So the casinos are making their money. They can't cancel that shit.
Yeah,
COVID
exactly.
is not going there.
That's went through. They ended up having a good time.
There's no COVID in the casinos.
What about the casino parking lot?
The casinos are doing terrible.
Oh yes, casinos parking lot. There's COVID over there. Especially if you want to fly a stunt contest.
Yeah.
It's only there.
Yeah, Lord. Yep, there's COVID. The casino parking lots, the whole casino setup is a disaster, and because they lost so much money, they reset and tweak their machines. They really stick it to you now. So not many people are going because they don't pay out anymore, and it's not fun and enjoyable for the locals. So everybody says the heck with it. They're not, and this take your temperature before you walk in. If they say you're too hot, you got to sit on the side and in the penalty box for 15 minutes until you cool down, and they say it's okay. Then they let you in, then you got to wear the mask. And the whole mask thing is a joke.
Yeah,
no shit. You wear a mask in the casino, you got somebody next to you who's drinking, they say it's okay, they don't have to wear a mask. Then you got somebody else who's smoking, it's okay while they're smoking, they don't have to wear a mask. What's the point?
Yeah,
what's the point? Everybody else wearing a mask, this one would smoke, this one smoking a cigar, drinks.
Yeah,
that don't make any sense.
The
whole thing is a joke.
Mask, we wouldn't have these freaking issues.
And not to mention the fact that masks are not doing shit other than like stopping for if somebody sneezes next to you and sends some droplets in your direction. That's the only thing that mask is doing.
Yeah, get back to airplanes, you guys. Let's talk about airplanes.
Better than
it slows down the velocity of air. It really helps a lot.
I know.
Come out, guys. I don't know if anyone's seen. Has anyone seen this app for your phone?
What is it?
Bubble.
What does it do?
What is it?
What are you selling?
And you can't. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. If I flatten it out, it gives a circle. Give you a 3. It works good. I got
that on mine, and a measurement tool too.
Huh?
I've got that and a measurement tool on mine too.
It's called
I've never
Level?
used them, but I've got
called Bubble.
It's called Bubble.
And
I'll see if the Android store has it. Because I have an Android.
Yeah, that's so do I.
Well, so guys, I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's starting to catch some shine in it.
Yes, we're beginning it shiny. Yeah,
you're getting it plumb shiny.
Wow.
Excuse me.
It's getting there. I mean, I still have some work to do on it, but.
So what grip are you using right now?
I set, put this on the frame of the airplane, and I can level it. And then when I put the stab in it, I can set incidents and everything else because you can go from degrees to incidents and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool app.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're building on a house, you can actually go roof pitch,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if the roof pitch would work on if you're pitching a blade or not.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I want to make something. I want to make something with a light component. It's like with an Arduino board and a little accelerometer, and maybe a couple of LEDs, different colors. So you can blink the LEDs in one color, both colors, or all 3 colors to get you different shades or something like that. Give you more variety. Anyways, but the idea is that you attach this to the bottom line or the top line, whichever way you want to, with some paper clips over there. And as you fly and you hit your 45 degrees elevation, it's going to have like, boom, it's a little blink over there that you can see with the corner of your eyes. And you know you got your 45s and you hit them, right? There's no guessing over there.
Very good. Good idea.
You are sneaky, Trey.
Yeah.
That's
hey, Tryon, I want to ask you a question, Tryon. I was just on the Hangar forum, and I was noticing Paul Walker's flap adjusting mechanism, where you can adjust the flaps, where you put the ball and a wrench into the fuselage to adjust it.
Yeah.
Have you done that, or you thought you didn't need that, or what?
I have it.
Oh, you have that?
Yes.
He's got that on his.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine, it's a little bit is not as easily done. I would like to have something that's like a fine tuning, just like with a screwdriver, just tweak it in and add some, take away some, whatever, you know. Mine is like more like two plates, and I have a screw that goes through the side, and you can loosen up the screw. The plates are going to shift and tighten up the screw, and you have a new position, kind of thing.
Oh, it's kind of like Bob McDonald's. I think Bob McDonald has one like that.
Yeah, and Wendy did one a long time ago. I think he started to do it in I don't know, I think the Testarossa. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I think the Testarossa was one of the first planes that he started to do that. And another reason for which I did this is because I have my flaps horns are like this. They come together, ding, in the center, right?
Right.
So I have this adjustment stuff that kind of pulls them together, locks them in place, and adjusts them at the same time, like this. So this kind of the way it works. And that was pretty simple, so I don't have to make big holes or anything like that. And it's just easy to implement.
Gary, are you bored?
All right, and I'm gonna go, guys. I'm gonna go to bed because it's night.
All right, thanks for coming in, Ryan.
Get it out too.
We know it's
We'll see you guys
9:18.
Friday. Have a great week.
So
it's 12 o'clock here.
We can go ahead and start ending the show. Let me just end the show, and we can continue on if you like afterwards. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for showing up and watching us. We had about 20 viewers at one time, which was pretty good. And I know we got off topic a little bit, but it was a pretty good program. And then we had some knucklehead on the chat that was just keeping me busy. So I missed some of the conversation. I'm going to have to watch it again to see what I missed.
You didn't miss nothing. It wasn't about airplanes, so.
Yeah. So I still like to hear what you guys are saying. I was too preoccupied with these two knuckleheads. Anyways, hey, thanks for showing up. And don't forget, we still have the opportunity for you to help with the expenses for Sparky with the Super Chat or join the membership. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. That helps with the programming. So until next time, we will see you again. Let me go ahead and stop the stream. And now, stop.